Issues that Jim has experienced since I've known him. He spent a year without internet. We did an internet show. We did the wrap-up show. You had no internet for a year. This is pre-Aaron.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you found Aaron because I feel like Aaron kind of got your life in order.
Yeah.
Right? You were a little bit like the Padres. 2-8 over a 10-game stretch.
Right? Yeah.
I might need to be like, Aaron,
Get him a new computer.
Spike. I mean, it's $2,000. You guys are loaded.
We're not.
Now, live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, it's Jon and Jim.
What's going on, San Diego? Jon and Jim on a Friday. No John today. He's on his way to Pullman up in Washington as the Aztecs will take on Washington State tomorrow night. Of course, that game can be listened right here on San Diego Sports 760. So me and Brent are holding down the fort until 6 p.m. It's funny. John posted a picture about an hour ago, Brent, of him on a plane outside taking a picture from the plane and taking a picture of like the water he's flying over.
Yeah.
And he goes, Pullman soon. I was like, wait, hold on. Where are you? Like, the show starts in 30 minutes. And the very first comment from the picture that John posted was, well, the show's cooked today. I agree. It's absolutely cooked today. Without John, we are basically like a pirate ship. We don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, John's the leader of the show. He drives the boat with no captain of the boat.
He's Paul Skeens. Since we're going with a pirate analogy,
then who are we? Like,
we're the other guys.
We're the others that nobody likes.
You're Andrew McCutcheon, I guess.
Well, Andrew McCutcheon's not a bad player.
Well, he's the only other pirate I could think of.
Right. There's not many pirates that I can think of off the top of my head other than Paul Skeens and Andrew McCutcheon. But it's just me and Brent today holding down the fort. We have a ton to talk about. Last night, the NFL season kicked off in one of the weirdest season openers in recent memory. So we'll talk all about that coming up later in the show. Kevin Acee is going to join us from Colorado. He's going to join us at 5 p.m. Also, we have like 1 million pairs of Lil Wayne tickets to give away today, right, Brent?
Yeah, pretty much like one pair an hour.
All right. So one pair of Lil Wayne tickets that we're giving away here on Jon and Jim today. So make sure you are staying tuned to listen to how to win those tickets. But we'll start with the Padres tonight. 3-game series starts in Colorado. I would say it's a pretty important series. Actually, every series for the remainder of the season is an important series. There's not one series left on the schedule that's not important. Every single one is important. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care who's pitching. I don't care what it is, right? Every single game is important. Every single game feels like a must win, especially when you're competing for a National League West Division title. It's hard to think after the way the Padres have played over the last 10 games. Wait, the division's still in play? It's still very much in play to the point where like the Dodgers have just completely left this door wide open for you. They just got swept in Pittsburgh. Now you did get swept by the Orioles here at Petco Park, but here's the good thing coming out of that sweep. If you could even take something good out of that sweep. You lost no ground on the Dodgers. None. And if I told you the Dodgers get swept in a series, the first thing you think about in your head is, oh, well, they definitely made ground up on the Dodgers then, right? Well, no, they didn't because the Padres also got swept, but that's the whole thing is they didn't lose any ground. For how bad this series was against the Orioles, for how, the fan base is freaking out after this series, the injuries that are piling up, the bad play, Mike Schilt being as thin-skinned as possible when talking about his team's poor play, they still haven't lost any games in the last 4 days. Actually, if anything, they gained a half a game here because last night the Dodgers got swept and they lost to Paul Skeens in the Pirates, and it went from 2.5 to 2. Now, still, as the Dodgers hold the tiebreaker here, that's the biggest concern going into the stretch run. You got to outplay the Dodgers by at least a game here. Actually, not at least a game. You have to outplay them by at least 3 games. The 1-game part is, you have to be better than them by at least 1 game at the end of the season because they hold the tiebreaker. So you're 2 back, but you're really 3 back because they hold the tiebreaker, and you're going to have to outplay them by 3 games remaining. I mean, the way the Dodgers are playing, it feels like, all right, they can do that. But you're also playing poor as well. It's not like, you're looking at the situation and saying, you know what? Yeah, we can do it. We can totally outplay the Dodgers here. Well, you could say that if you're playing at least good baseball or semi-good baseball. Right now, it's like, just win a freaking game. I don't care about the series. I mean, I do care about the series, but I care more about just singular focus on tonight's game. We'll worry about the series when tomorrow and Sunday comes, but tonight is the singular focus on this Padres team. It's win tonight at all costs.
Well, about 4 years ago, the Cubs had the same thing happen with the Brewers, to where every time the Brewers would win, the Cubs would win. Every time the Brewers would lose, the Cubs would lose. And this went on for like almost 2 months, to where nobody picked up any ground. Nobody lost any ground. They were just in like this perpetual standoff for like 2 months. And that's almost what this feels like, because it's, it's like you said, whenever we start to feel down about how the Padres are playing, it's just like, oh, but the Dodgers aren't really playing much better, so it's still in reach. It's just a matter of who's going to snap out of it first, us or the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And, that is pretty much what's going to decide the division.
Yeah, it's who's going to start playing better baseball, and does it happen quickly or does it happen at the end of the year? And whoever starts playing better baseball first has the upper hand here. I agree with you, Brent. Both teams have been struggling. And going into this weekend, Dodgers play the Orioles, Padres play the Rockies. All right. Orioles obviously just swept the Padres. Rockies, they took 2 out of 4. I think they split that series against the Dodgers in Colorado. Playing in Colorado is always scary. It is never a place that I view as easy wins. The Coors Field is just a place that is so unpredictable that you could win a game 12-11, or you can win a game 3-2. It's one of those places where it's kind of been a little bit of a house of horrors for the Padres. So by no means do I think, or am I going to say, that this series is going to be an easy series, because I thought the Twin series was going to be a series the Padres could have stacked up some wins. I thought the Orioles series was a series the Padres could stack up some wins. So they're going to have to go out and prove it. Starts tonight. And hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Nope, we're good. See, that's the thing, is when John's not here and I'm doing this thing solo with Brent, sneezing is like the worst thing that could possibly happen. But if I just talk through it, I'll be okay.
Just don't think about it.
Just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. So, yeah, tonight it starts a crucial stretch for this Padres team. And they're still somehow, some way, within striking distance. Like, it doesn't feel like that right now. I understand that 2 games, but really 3 games with 22 to play feels kind of like out of reach. It feels like you're watching a football game. Like I said yesterday, you're watching a football game, and one team has racked up like 350 total yards. The other team's racked up like 115, but it's still a 1-score game. That's kind of what it feels like right here, even though the Dodgers aren't a team that's racking up a bunch of yards, but they have beat up on you. So that's why it feels like you're so far out of this. But they're really not. They're really not. Now, the way they're playing, it's not going to lend to give you much confidence here, because there's a lot of things going wrong with this team right now. A lot of things. And it starts with the starting pitching. And this weekend, when you have Dylan Cease and Nick Pivetta on the mound, you should think that you're going to win those games. But also at Coors Field, anything can happen. And we gave you Nick Pivetta's stats at Coors Field yesterday. They're awful. So they're going to probably have to outslug the Rockies this weekend. But you know what the Padres don't do? They don't outslug opponents. They don't hit home runs, but maybe they can do it in Colorado. There's a lot of things this week and a lot of questions with this team that, can they just win a game tonight? That's step 1. Step 2, can they win a series? Then step 3, can they start playing good baseball for the rest of the season? It sounds easy, but for this team, Man, nothing's easy. Nothing easy with this Padres team.
And they get Kyle Freeland coming off of his fight night with Devers last week.
They do? What game is that? That has to be on Saturday or Sunday, right?
Tonight.
I don't think it's tonight. Tonight, right now on MLB.com, it has Nick Pivetta. Oh, it is Kyle Freeland. Okay, so you're right. It is Kyle Freeland. Nick Pivetta starting for the Padres tonight. Nick Pivetta's career numbers at Coors Field, awful. Has a 6+ ERA there. The last time he faced the Rockies in Colorado at Coors Field earlier this season, pitched awful. So you hope that history doesn't continue to repeat itself here with Nick Pivetta, and the trends that Nick Pivetta has when pitching at Coors Field don't continue. Because you know what's going to happen is tonight, bottom of the first inning, if Nick Pivetta gives up 2 runs and the Padres don't score in the top of the first, it's deja vu all over again. Everybody is going to start freaking out. The team is going to start thinking, oh, here we go again. You know, you're going to need a good start tonight from Nick Pivetta. And I know that they haven't gone 6 innings or quality start here in the last 10 days. But, I mean, this is your ace on the mound. He's been your ace. It's win day. When Nick Pivetta's on the mound, that's got to be a win. And I don't care about his awful career numbers at Coors Field. I mean, they scare the hell out of me. But you can't use that as an excuse for tonight. If Nick Pivetta blows up again tonight at Coors Field, okay, but you still got to win the game. Like, even if you're trailing once again in this game, you still have to go out and find a way to win. You know, the comeback they had on Wednesday, hopefully that, you know, leads into a good stretch of baseball for them. But again, there's no moral victories with 22 games remaining, 2 back in the National League West. You know, you're fighting for a division title here. You're obviously fighting for a World Series come postseason time. You know, there's no excuse. And tonight, it's got to be win night. With your ace on the mound, I don't care where it's at. I don't care if it's on the moon. You got to go out and you got to win. And hopefully they start playing better baseball because time is running out. And if the Dodgers at any point quickly here start ripping off series and you're still trying to figure things out, and as you said, Brent, it's pretty much donezo at that point. First team to start playing better baseball has the upper hand. Can you play better baseball than the Dodgers down the stretch against bad teams? Because your schedules are essentially the same. Except for the fact the Dodgers do play the Giants 7 times. And that's going to be a weird thing to watch and potentially who do you root for? Because the Giants are also red hot as well. And, you know, they're pushing for that 6th seed. So we can get that later in the show as far as the schedules and how they break down go. But it all starts tonight. Got to pick up a win. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just win a game because you desperately need it. All right, coming up in the show today, as I said, Kevin Acee is going to join us at 5 p.m. We have 1 million Lil Wayne tickets, so make sure you continue to listen for a chance to win. But coming up next,
$1 million.
What'd you say?
Do you mean $1 million?
$1 million, yeah.
That Lil Wayne song good?
That's a very good reference, Brent. Good job. All right, coming up next, the NFL season kicked off last night in one of the weirdest games imaginable. We'll break that down next. Coming up next on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, back here on Jon and Jim. Last night, NFL season kicked off, and we had the question yesterday on the show: is it going to be a good game? Because I thought going in with the move that the Dallas Cowboys made with trading away Micah Parsons, the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl championship, bringing back damn near everybody. Their roster's loaded. They're in Philadelphia. They're at the Link. There's no way they're not going to put up, a double-digit win against the Cowboys. And to my surprise, the game last night had damn near everything. It was not a boring game whatsoever. The only boring part was the lightning delay.
Weather delay.
But I mean, right from the opening kickoff, we got fireworks. And, married to an Eagles fan as I am, there's no surprise in our household with the on-field fights between both teams, with the bad blood between both teams, and especially the bad blood between the fan bases. Like that, if you're an Eagles fan, there's nothing you hate more than a Dallas Cowboy fan. And also there's nothing you hate more than just the Dallas Cowboys in general. So like first play of the game, the kickoff, not even a first play.
Didn't even get that far.
Yeah, not even a first play as far as offense versus defense goes. Like the kickoff, random dude blows his knee out, and you're like, okay, well that sucks for him. But then it just went right into, wait, who's getting ejected from the game? And not only was it an Eagle, I mean, it was one of their best defensive players, one of the best defensive players in the league, Jalen Carter. And you're like, wait, why did he get ejected? And the spitting on Dak Prescott, like it took NBC like 3 hours to find footage, or at least to show the footage of Dak kind of instigating this by spitting on the ground in front of Jalen Carter, and then Jalen Carter taking the bait and spitting back in Dak's face, or at least spitting on his chest. I mean, we're talking about spitting, guys. It's one, it wasn't a good look for Jalen Carter. It's not who did it first, it's who gets caught. And you got caught. Now, I think that the Dak instigation spit, like the instigating spit that he had, is going to save Jalen Carter from potentially getting suspended. But still, like, how dumb can you be?
Well, and he was practically in their huddle.
Right.
Because that was the other thing. At first, that's what I thought started it. Because Dax just kind of looks at him and was like, get the hell out of here. And then that's when he spit on him. So I thought it was just like, oh, he's trying to intimidate him by standing in their huddle. And then he just told him to get out. So he spit on him. But yeah, I didn't see the other thing of him almost spitting on him, or, was it just an inadvertent spit because he was in the huddle and he was just there where he wasn't supposed to be?
Oh no, it was a coordinated spit. You don't get spit talk like you get right now on Jon and Jim, especially when Jon's not here. We'll talk about spit for the next 10 minutes. But to the game part of it, after the spitting occurred and Jalen Carter gets himself ejected, I mean, that was a very enjoyable first half. Like, very enjoyable. Back and forth, no punts. It's all you could ask for from the opener of the NFL season, regardless of who's playing. Like, just put up points. Don't give me some boring, punt fest here. And that's what they did. And I was like, wow, this actually could be a very competitive game. And it was a very competitive game. There's a one score game there. But after the lightning delay happened, it just everything, the momentum of the game, it just went to a complete halt. And I'm not surprised at all, because it is so difficult to get yourself up and then immediately have to stop. And then, by the way, you have the halftime, you come out of the half, and then halfway through the third quarter, or 70% of the way through the third quarter, you have to stop again. So there's no surprise on my end that the game didn't see any points scored after the lightning delay.
Well, they had to stop, and they didn't know when they were going to come back. So it was one of those things where it's like, it depends. We might be back in a half an hour. It might be an hour, or it might be longer than that. Because, football's got one of those, at least in college, where it's like per lightning strike, you have to add like
It's very
30
weird,
minutes. Yeah. John would know this because we had to live, or Rich had to live through it that one year with the Aztecs when it lightning here at Snap. I don't even know if they're in Snapdragon, but it's like 30 minutes per lightning delay, like every time we get a lightning strike. So, yeah, I didn't even know. I took the trash out and came back, and Collinsworth and them just kept talking and talking.
Like,
And
what are they talking about?
I'm like, okay, guys, can we show the football game now? And then after like 5 minutes, they're like, yeah, we're in a lightning delay. And I was like, oh, great. But don't worry, we'll be back in an hour. I was like, yeah, literally, yeah, I'll be back in an hour. And then I changed it.
So it was a very enjoyable, had kind of everything game. I thought that the Eagles didn't play their best. I mean, again, they didn't have their best defensive player on the front line. So, of course, they're going to look a little different on defense. But, I mean, Dallas, you watch Dallas and you think to yourself, could they be competitive? Could they be a competitive team this year? I mean, Dak looked really good last night. You know, CeeDee Lamb forgot how to catch the football. But Dak was slinging it, man. Dak was slinging it. If CeeDee Lamb could have caught some of those passes in the fourth quarter, that's a completely different game. And those balls were dropped in the bucket, by the way. They were good throws. I mean, Dak, he looked really good. And his career numbers against the Eagles are fantastic. So maybe it's to no surprise that he looked as good as he did last night. But, you know, it kind of, to me, makes the Micah Parsons trade a little more confusing. If they were going to look like that last night, and you trade away one of your best defensive players, like, it's just a weird thing because I feel like the Cowboys could compete. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. They're not winning a Super Bowl, but I mean, maybe they could have made some noise if they kept Micah Parsons. You don't know, but it is interesting. They're not a bottom feeding team. They're not like cellar dwellers. They're not a team that's going to finish, I feel like, in last place. Maybe depending on how the East goes. Like, I mean, NFC East is a good division. And they could finish in last place, but what's last place in the NFC East? 8 and 9? Maybe. We'll see. And maybe you could have gotten 2 more wins if you had Micah Parsons. I don't know. I mean, you don't think they could have used Micah Parsons last night in a 1-score game against the Eagles, against Jalen Hurts, who's running around everywhere? I would tend to believe that they absolutely could have used Micah Parsons last night. So the NFL season is underway tonight. We have the who's tonight? Oh, the Chiefs and the LA Chargers from Brazil. So that's only on YouTube. I'm interested to see how that looks on the YouTube broadcast. All right, coming up next, we talked to him earlier this week. Aztec wide receiver Jacob Bostic joined me and John to talk about their upcoming matchup against Washington State. You'll hear that conversation coming up next right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
After the off day, the Padres. This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. After the off day, the Padres are back at it on the road to take on the Rockies tonight. It's going to be Nick Pivetta going for the Padres and Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. Last night in the NFL, the Eagles took down the Cowboys 24-20. Tonight, it's going to be the Chargers taking on Kansas City in Brazil. Kickoff is set for 5 p.m. And tomorrow night, San Diego State takes on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts right here at 5:30. And after tonight's show, you can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show starting at 6 o'clock. Need HVAC this month? Get 0% for 18 months on a new system. Schedule your free proposal at andersonpha.com. Anderson, fast, reliable, wow.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim. Padres lineup's out. It's a very interesting lineup tonight, Brent. It's a very interesting lineup. We'll get to that coming up here at the top of the hour. But right now, Aztec wide receiver Jacob Bostic joined us earlier this week to talk about his first game of the year against Stony Brook. He caught a touchdown in that game and also previewing the upcoming game here tomorrow night against Washington State. We started off the conversation with what's his relationship like with head coach Sean Lewis?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So out of high school, I graduated high school in 2022. And so I was getting recruited during those crazy COVID times in 2020 and 2021. And so my dad is actually a Kent State alum. My dad was a captain at Kent State, and he also played with some of the greats like Josh Cribbs and James Harrison. And so Coach Barton, I think, was the first to reach out from Kent State. It was a really big deal for us. And so I remember getting the first call, and I was like, yo, Dad, like, I think it's Kent State, shortly after, a few weeks after I received the offer. And so I've actually been able to stay in touch with them guys. Ended up going to Iowa out of high school, but yeah, man, that Kent State offer, that was definitely meaningful and big time for me for sure.
And your journey to come to San Diego State, obviously you mentioned the 1 year at Iowa and you had 1 year at Texas A&M. What's the journey been like to get here to San Diego State with Sean Lewis?
Yeah, no doubt. So it was actually 2 years at the University of Iowa, and then I transferred to Texas A&M. But yeah, to focus on Iowa real quick. So get to Iowa, had a strong fall camp, ended up re-injuring a former injury. So kind of was dealing with that the first year. Second year also dealt with the injury. And so those first 2 years were pretty tough, you know what I mean? And especially for a kid, that hadn't had a chance really, and so you go through the whole thing of, you go to high school, you do well, and all of a sudden, like you're a small fish in a big pond. And so it was definitely different. But nonetheless, got an opportunity to transfer, went to Texas A&M, had a really cool experience there, was healthy for the first time. And so really, really grateful to be out in the field this past Thursday. Obviously, like I said, I feel like I have a unique perspective, a little bit different than other people. Just so grateful and thankful for Jesus to give me the chance to play this game that I love.
Jacob Bostic with us right now, Aztec junior receiver. Again, 3 catches, 53 yards, and his first career touchdown from Jaden Denigal on Thursday night against Stony Brook. So let's talk about this offense that, Sean Lewis has been running for years, some of the most efficient offenses in the country. What is it about this offense that suits you so well, and what do you enjoy most about being a part of it?
Absolutely, man. I think besides the offense, just start about the people. I love the people, and I think the teammates, and I mentioned it in my interview form yesterday, but I just think like they welcome me in with open arms, coaches, players. And so to line up with my brothers each and every game is something really special. But yeah, the offense is awesome, man. I think our ability to go up tempo and quick and fast gives us an advantage, and we're really excited for the season to keep going.
All right, let's talk about your first career touchdown catch. You were wide open there in the end zone. Was there any part of you in that moment that was like, dude, I can't drop this? Because, I mean, you made a nice move and cut there, and he laid the ball out there just a little high. You made a nice catch. What was that moment like for you?
For sure, man. That was definitely a full circle moment, something I've been praying for a long time. Just like you said, made that move. It came up the seam. Thankful for Jaden to find me up the seam. And so, like I said, yeah, when the ball was in the air, I was just pretty excited and glad I could make the play for the team.
How do you describe like what you're able to do out there, right? Because you can play inside, you can play outside. Like, what is it about your skill set you think that works, and it's going to work here at San Diego State?
Yep. So I come from a pretty strong track background. My dad ran one of the biggest track programs in Illinois, and so we were the Flippin' Flyers, and we went to the Junior Olympics each and every year. And so I just think my track background and just my ability to have that quick, fast twitchiness and that back end speed, I think, is what sets me apart. But yeah, I would say those two things for sure.
Who's the fastest player on the team?
Oh man, that's a good one. It's funny. My roommate is Bert Emanuel Jr.
Okay.
So we were talking today about if we had a 4x1 team, who would be starting, who would be anchoring. So that would definitely be a good question. I'm not too sure though. We'll have to see.
What's the relationship been like with you and Jaden Denical so far early in the season?
Yeah, it's been great. It's definitely been great, man. Obviously, dealt with injuries when I first got here, and so being up tempo and kind of getting things rolling and getting as many reps as we can has been really, really beneficial for the both of us. Yeah, man, he's a great dude, great guy off the field. And so I'm excited to go to war with him each and every weekend.
So you have been, as a college player, correct me if I'm wrong, at some of the best environments in the sport, right? I mean, you played at Texas A&M, you played in the Big Ten. I mean, you've played everywhere. So you're going to the road this weekend. That's always a challenge. It's at night, right? Martin Stadium, Pullman, Washington. Their crowd has always been an advantage. What does it take as a team in some of those environments? And what do you enjoy most about being put in a situation like that?
For sure, man. I feel like I wouldn't have it any other way. I love under the lights at night, big environment, big fan base. I don't think anybody on our team shies away from those moments like that. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I feel like you live for those moments. And so the more eyes on you, the better you play. And so I think if we go out there and execute and just control, we can control at the end of the day, not try to do too much, just execute with violence each and every play, I think we'll be all right.
Most fans might look at a 42-0 victory and go, everything was great, but I'm sure there are things that you guys are looking at on film that you want to improve on. What are some of the things that you are hoping to improve on this week leading up to Washington State?
Yeah, things to improve on. I would definitely say just being able to finish the game strong. I think there was a time a little bit in Stony Brook where I feel like sometimes got a little bit loose on the sideline. And so when Coach Lewis brought us together and really helped us refocus there, I think it was really beneficial for all of us. And so really just staying on each other and continually just finishing, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, game's not over until the clock hits 0. And so I think that's something that we're really, really trying to put an emphasis on this week. Each and every day at practice, giving everything we got and just being ready to go for Saturday.
Jacob, congratulations, man. A great start to the year. We're looking forward to Saturday night, 7:15 on the Palouse. Pregame coverage at 5:15. You can hear the game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Congrats on a great start in an Aztec uniform. We appreciate you taking time for us, and we'll see you this weekend, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Have a good one.
How about that? That's a first. That is a first.
Wow, look at that. The best ending to an interview ever. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer, but more importantly, thank you, Mr. Russell. That's never happened before. I'm surprised that our guest even knew who I was.
You so badly want me to make that a drop, don't you?
I do. Mr. Russell, Mr. Schaefer, has to be a drop. All right, coming up next, Padres lineup's out. It's very interesting. There's one player that's not in the lineup tonight, and we will discuss that one player in the lineup coming up next right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego State football is back tomorrow night when they take on Washington State on the road. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:15 with kick around 7:15 right here on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. So the lineup for the Padres tonight has come out. Let me preface this by saying they're facing a lefty on the mound. All right, Kyle Freeland is on the mound tonight. He is a lefty. Here is the Padres lineup tonight. Leading off in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Hitting second at first base, Ryan O'Hearn. Manny Machado's at third. Gavin Sheets is your DH. See where I'm going with this. Ramon Liriano's in left field. Jackson Merrill's in center. Iglesias is at short. Cronenworth's at second. Diaz is your catcher with Pivetta on the mound tonight.
Wow, look at that lineup.
Yeah, wow, look at that lineup. That's interesting. Because there's one player that's not in the lineup against the lefty on the mound who's been in the lineup against lefties all of the season. That would be one Luis Ariz. It's so funny how, these questions are being brought up to Mike Schilt about hitting Luis Ariz in the 2-hole consistently and maybe moving him down, or against the lefty on the mound, sitting Luis Ariz, and he becomes the most defensive, thin-skinned person on the planet, right? And yet there's a lefty on the mound, and Luis Ariz is not in the lineup. So, let me get this straight. Was this something that's been in the works for a while, and you just can't handle the question, and you become defensive and thin-skinned and combative with whoever's asking that question about Luis Ariz? Or are you succumbing to the pressure that's being put on by Padres fans and maybe some of the media in town to sit Luis Ariz against lefties? What is it? I would tend to believe it's the first one rather than the latter, but I wouldn't be surprised if part of the pressure, or at least the conversation that's been had about Luis Ariz against lefties and sitting him against lefties, that we've had a lot on this show, that we've talked to Kevin about, that other shows in town have talked about, that, other media members have talked about in this town, that maybe some of that has got to Mike Schilt, and he's just like, you know what, here we go. But I don't think he would operate like that. I don't think he would look at chat message boards about Luis Ariz and be like, you know what, I'm going to give in and sit Luis Ariz. No, I do think this has to do with the actual numbers that have been staring everybody in the face for a long time. And now, with 22 games remaining in your season, you finally make the move. I mean, I guess better late than never. But then why the combativeness towards questions about Luis Ariz, Mike? Why be as thin-skinned as you are when it comes to questions about your lineup? Why be a person that wants to just argue with somebody just asking a simple, silly question about roster construction, about guys playing different positions that they've played before in their careers? Why are you doing that? Are you that thin-skinned that you can't handle simple, basic, silly questions? Because for right now, it very much comes off like he is letting the pressure get to him, that he can't handle the pressure. Now, he's a good manager. There's no denying that. But man, dude, why do you always have to be combative? Why do you always have to argue someone's question? Just answer the freaking silly, stupid question, Mike. You're not being put under oath here, right? You're not in trouble with the law or something crazy. Like, it's a baseball question, dude. And is it that hard to think that maybe you don't know it all? Like, I get it. Everybody asking you the question isn't a major league manager, right? But at the same time, don't think that the people that are asking you these questions are stupid, because they're not. We're not. The fans are not stupid. The fans, Padres fans especially, are very intelligent when it comes to, baseball moves and this Padres team specifically, don't put that on the fan base. Don't make them feel like they're dumb, because they're not. And same goes with the media asking these questions. Kevin's not stupid. Dennis isn't stupid. AJ's not stupid. We're not stupid. So it's interesting how 22 games left in the season against the lefty on the mound. We've been talking about this for a month now, and it finally happens. It's interesting how it happens now, yet he's acted like a child when it comes to this question with the lineup and Luis Ariz in particular.
I almost think it's a case of everyone knows how, tight Schilt is with, certain players on this team, to where he didn't want to take him out of the lineup. And I think he was putting it off, hoping that he would just hit out of the slump and then he wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. But then, like you said, now we're at the point of no return, because there's only 22 games left in the season and he can't wait anymore. And now he doesn't have a choice. It's not a matter of, I don't want to take him out. I think he can work it through it. We don't have time to wait anymore. So, now it's, do it or get off the pot.
I just
type of situation.
I just think it's kind of funny how, this is clearly not a situation tonight where they're sitting Luis Ariz because he needs a breather. You had an off day yesterday. You played a day game on Wednesday. You've had, a day and a half off, really 2 days, because if you count the half day on Wednesday and the half day today before the game, this is not we need to get him off his feet. And we'll hear what Mike Schilt has to say later in the show. I'm sure it's some BS answer. Almost cursed there. I'm sure it's some BS answer about why they're sitting Luis Ariz when the real reason should be, well, you know what? He's not good against lefties. We need to put the best lineup out there. We need to have the best bats out there. And when there's a lefty on the mound, unfortunately, Luis Ariz is not the best option to have in the lineup. And hopefully they're figuring it out. Or maybe someone in that organization went down to Mike and said, look, Mike, I get it. You want to be this ultimate player's manager. You want to give your guys all the opportunity in the world. But you know what? The numbers are staring us in the face. And the best lineup against the lefty is a lineup without Luis Ariz. Pretty simple. I don't know how it got to this point, whose decision it fully was, but I can't sit here and think it was Mike Schilt in his office today going, you know what? I got it. Against the lefty, that's sit Luis Ariz, because his numbers against lefties are awful.
He just had an epiphany this morning.
Yeah,
when
he's just like,
up.
oh my gosh, eating his bowl of cereal or whatever. Like, wow.
The light bulb went up above his head.
Exactly.
I've got it.
I got it. Sit him versus the lefty. No, I don't think that's the case at all. I do think there's some pressure here that has been put on Mike Schilt. It's interesting. You start thinking to yourself, the more and more I hear Mike Schilt speak and the more combative he is and the more thin-skinned I see him be with simple questions and lineup construction and whatnot and things that I've heard, start to wonder, like, maybe the Cardinals had a pretty good reason why they fired Mike Schilt. Like, maybe there's actually a reason there. Instead of, wow, they just feel, I don't know why they fired him. They labeled it as philosophical differences. But the more time that we get to know Mike Schilt and the more time other people in this city get to know Mike Schilt, if they don't win, you kind of understand it. But again, that takes nothing away from him still being a good manager, because he is a good manager. There's no denying that. The record speaks for itself. I'm talking about everything else that goes into the job that I feel like he has a hard time doing, or at least he has a hard time with. He's just not the type of person that, I don't know. It's just a weird thing when you try to dissect Mike Schilt. Maybe as a person as well, and the whole being combative with the media and, talking down to the media, especially Kevin, and, just not answering simple questions and, getting upset. Like, it just, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing when you try to dissect Mike Schilt and pick apart his brain. It really is. But he's a good manager. And if you win games, you deal with that stuff. The question is when they lose games or if they don't win a World Series or if they, lose in the postseason again, can he get over that hump? We'll find out. But the lineup, it's an interesting one tonight. That's for sure. And I'd be very curious to find out how they got to this lineup with Luis Arraez not in it, because that'd be very weird if it was just something he thought of this morning, right? All right, coming up next, Steve Ballmer. Probably not the best to just talk randomly to ESPN when you could be in some serious trouble here, my guy. We'll talk about Steve Ballmer and what he said last night on ESPN after the NFL game. Coming up next right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres are back at it tonight to start a 3-game set with the Rockies in Colorado. It's going to be Nick Pivetta on the hill for the Padres and Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. The NFL season kicked off last night in Philadelphia as the Eagles held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20. Tonight, the Chargers take on the Chiefs in Brazil. Kickoff is set for 5 o'clock. Tomorrow night, the Aztecs take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts at 5:30. You can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight at 6 o'clock. Need HVAC? This month, get 0% for 18 months on a new system. Schedule your free proposal at AndersonPHA.com. Anderson, fast, reliable, wow.
Your favorite pair, Jon and Jim.
The number
But I
of
can't.
computer issues that Jim has experienced since I've known him. He spent a year without internet. We did an internet show. We did the wrap-up show. You had no internet for a year. But this is pre-Aaron.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you found Aaron because I feel like Aaron kind of got your life in order.
Yeah.
Right? You were a little bit like the Padres. 2-8 over a 10-game stretch.
Yeah.
I might need to be like, Aaron,
Get him a new computer.
Spike. I mean, it's $2,000. You guys are loaded.
We're not.
Now, live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, it's Jon and Jim.
Yeah, definitely not loaded. All right, hour 2 of Jon and Jim here on a Friday. Jon on his way to Pullman to call San Diego State versus Washington State tomorrow night. That game can be heard right here on San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acey is going to join us at 5 p.m. as well. I did not do it in the first hour, so we're going to have to like triple up here in hour number 2. A couple pairs of tickets to Lil Wayne will be given away this hour, so stay tuned for that. But the Kawhi Leonard story and Steve Ballmer and aspirations that Pablo Torre uncovered the other day on Pablo Torre Finds Out is fascinating. I listened to the entire podcast the other night, Brent. It was about a 90-minute podcast. And I listened to the whole thing. And it was very well done by Pablo and his team. You know, setting everything up, giving, information and background on aspiration and the people in charge and, where certain things came from and who was endorsed by that company. And it was a very detailed report from Pablo Torre. And, the cliff notes of the whole thing, it basically said that when Kawhi signed with the Clippers, he and his uncle got a basically sweetener deal through aspiration from Steve Ballmer, upwards of $28 million. Well, the Boston Journal reported yesterday that there was actually more money involved with Kawhi Leonard through aspiration. About $20 million more. So this no-show endorsement deal that Kawhi got from aspiration was about $48 million. Interesting, because Steve Ballmer invested $50 million of his own money into the company. That's not a coincidence, right? That doesn't look shady, right? I mean, when you put everything together, just cliff noting this entire thing, it feels like there was something in place with aspiration and the Clippers to get Kawhi more money on the side through a quote unquote endorsement deal that turned out to be a no-show endorsement deal. He had to do, he literally didn't have to do anything, like nothing. If he didn't want to do something, he didn't have to do it. And the obligations that were given to him were ridiculous. In Pablo Torre's podcast,
they were explaining the things that they would ask Kawhi to do as far as, being an endorser. And it was like, sign 50 pieces of memorabilia. 50. When you're getting paid $28 million over 4 years and you only have to sign 50 pieces of memorabilia a year, that's like nothing. You see people have to do endorsement deals where they sign thousands and thousands and thousand pieces of memorabilia. Basically, that to me is like, that's just put in there to make it look legit. And then last night, like the ultimate news dump of news dumps, Steve Ballmer ran across the street to ESPN to sit down with Ramona Shelburne and give his side of the story. Here's what Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, had to say to ESPN last night.
In the court documents and in Pablo's podcast, they reported it was 28 million.
Pablo's podcast, I don't know anything about the court documents on this. I haven't seen them and I don't know. I'm not trying to be, I don't know. I really don't know. But the speculation is what it is. And why did they do that?
It's a lot of money. I mean, 28 million, 7 million a year is a lot of money for a guy that you didn't actually require to do anything.
I don't know why they did what they did, and I don't know how different it is. I really don't. And frankly, any speculation would be crazy. These are guys who committed fraud. How would I be able? Look, they conned me.
You're one of the richest men in America.
They conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me. At this stage, I have no ability to predict why they might have done anything they did.
And there it is. Did you catch that? You caught that right, Brent? They conned me. I'm the victim here. No, sir. You're a billionaire. You're the 6th richest person in the world. You don't get conned. Okay.
Exactly.
You don't get conned when you're the 6th richest person in the entire world. All right. We're not talking about someone stealing $100 billion from you. We're talking about somebody allegedly, according to your side of the story, conning you for $50 million. Do you know how much $50 million is to a billionaire? Like for us average people, like $1. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Again, I'm not good with numbers. But $50 million to a billionaire, and especially to a billionaire 100 times over, is nothing. It's very easy to see when someone is guilty of something when immediately they play the victim. Like it is as clear as day. Now, again, we'll find out what happens with the investigation. Sam Amick just reported moments ago that the NBA has hired the law firm Watchell, Lipton, Rose, and Katz to investigate the Clippers Kawhi Leonard situation. It's the same law firm that investigated Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver. So they're not messing around here. Those are big boys that's going to be investigating you. I just think the whole thing is very, very shady. And, I'm seeing the argument now. He's a billionaire. He wouldn't be that stupid. Oh, really? Oh, really? You don't think that billionaires can be stupid just because they're billionaires? When you're talking about $50 million that he gave to Aspiration, and then all of a sudden we find out that $48 million was given from Aspiration, or at least that was the agreement to Kawhi Leonard in a complete no-show endorsement deal. Like he did nothing for the company, like absolutely nothing. And when they show who this company had as far as influencers and endorsers or endorsees, they had A-list celebrities, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Drake, as Pablo Torre said, the A-list Avengers. None of them we're getting even close to a fraction of what Kawhi Leonard got, or at least signed up to get. And to be honest with you, like Kawhi's a big name in the sports world, and he's a superstar. He ain't bigger than Leonardo DiCaprio. He ain't bigger than Robert Downey Jr. And he sure as hell ain't bigger than Drake. So it's like, what stands out here? We played that game the other day. Like Fernando Tatis Jr., Will Wagner, and Jackson Merrill. Like one of these things is not like the other. Of the four people that I just named, Leo, Downey, Drake, and Kawhi, who should be getting the most money there as far as an endorser goes? Not Kawhi. That's not my first person I'm endorsing. Yet he gets not only first discovered by Pablo, $28 million for a no-show deal, but then discovered by the Boston Journal yesterday, ironically, that there was also another $20 million that was attached to that deal for a no-show deal. And it just so happened that Steve Ballmer invested $50 million into the company. And now he's playing the victim card. He got conned. Bro.
That's what I think is funny, because like you said, on the one side, there's people like, he's not that stupid that he would do that. Well, Steve Ballmer just said he was.
Yeah. He invested in the company that conned him.
And he just went on there. It's like, well, how was I supposed to? It's like, dude, you don't get that rich being dumb.
Right.
Unless you inherited all your money or you win the lottery or something. You don't get that wealthy by being dumb and doing dumb things.
But
he tried something, he got caught, and now he's trying to just weasel his way out of it and be like, no, I didn't know anything. I'm just this dumb millionaire that, anybody can rip me off. I'm so dumb. I just, oh God. It's like, no, I don't think anyone's going to buy it, Steve.
Yeah, I don't think the public court of opinion is going to buy it at all. I already think that he made a mistake by going on with Ramona Shelburne on ESPN, where they aired the interview right after the NFL game ended.
Well, I almost bet money he thought, oh, dude, I'm going to go over there today. It's opening day of NFL.
No one will know.
If back in the days when people used to read newspapers, this will be in like page 6 of the paper. It's just going to get buried. No one will ever see it. And then I can just go out there and be like, oh, I was in the media. I commented on it. Just nobody paid any attention because it's opening day NFL.
Now, here's the thing that has to be found out is that, is there any evidence of, because the one thing that Steve Ballmer did say the other night, and we can talk more about this in their side, but the one thing he did mention was, they introduced Kawhi to aspiration after Kawhi signed his deal with the Clippers in 2021, I think it was. So it wasn't like they introduced Kawhi to the aspiration before. They introduced him after. I mean, it's a weird thing, but we'll talk about a little bit more on the other side. The one thing that I think that the NBA, while investigating Steve Ballmer, what they have to find out to make this, stick here, to make these allegations stick. We'll talk about that coming up next right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. But right now, if you want to go to Lil Wayne, all you got to do is call 877-767-4760, caller number 7. You are going to Lil Wayne. It's a pair of tickets, right? Or a 4-pack. Pair of tickets. A pair of tickets to see Lil Wayne right now. 877-767-4760. Call right now. Caller number 7. You win a pair of tickets to see Lil Wayne. More Jon and Jim come up next. All right, guys, it's Jon and Jim here for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Join them every Monday in July for a chance to win big, not July, every Monday in September for a chance to win big with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds, they're better than ever. Our Onyx players are going to receive an extra $100 in cash bonuses on top of their winnings. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners. And right now is the all-new Hamul 23 that just opened. It's endless dining with everyday treats. You can savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience from their world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to their VIP endless dining experience each evening. You can indulge in chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views. Get to the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. All right, back here on Jon and Jim. Kevin Acee is going to join us at 5 p.m. from Denver, Colorado. New look lineup tonight against the lefties, so plenty to talk about with Kevin. Just to finish up our conversation that we were having about Steve Ballmer and the Clippers and what the NBA or whoever is investigating them needs to find out as far as like, where's the smoking gun, right? They need to find definitively that Steve Ballmer introduced Kawhi to aspirations solely to make sure they could pay him extra money on the side to circumvent the salary cap. Like, that's where you need to find definitive evidence. Right now, it's a paper trail all leading to, oh, absolutely, this is what happened.
Steve Ballmer introduced Kawhi to Aspiration so he could pay Kawhi through Aspiration through a fake sponsorship endorsement. And you need to make that stick. And right now there's a bunch of stuff out there that leads you down that path, but there still isn't that, like, the money that Steve Ballmer gave to Aspirations directly went to Kawhi Leonard. That's where that's where the smoking gun needs to be discovered.
Well, I know one thing, if the NBA does find something and their attorneys find something, the government's probably going to look into this too, because this would be fraud.
Absolutely. Well, it would be, I don't know if the government would look into it. Again, it's not something that I'm like an expert on, but it's definitely interesting how, Aspiration was going to be like the jersey patch for the Clippers. They signed a $300 million naming rights deal. I mean, this thing was not just some random company. I mean, Aspirations was a huge part of the Clippers when they first moved into the Intuit Dome. They were talking about they wanted to be the naming rights partner for the actual arena. And so Steve Ballmer was directly connected to Aspiration. He knew them very well. The question now is, was the money that Steve Ballmer gave to Aspiration directly sent to Kawhi Leonard? Like, that's how the funnel happened. It was like a reach around pause. It was like something like, oh, here's $50 million because I'm investing in your company. But really, we need you to give that $50 million to Kawhi. Like, did that occur? Were those things coordinated between Ballmer and Aspirations? It's very easy right now to put the two and two together. But unless there is proof and evidence of that occurring, because it seems like, there's paper trails everywhere. There's emails being discovered and text change that are being discovered, and former employees of the company coming out and speaking about this. So it doesn't seem like it should be too hard to find. But if you don't find anything, I don't know what the NBA could do, just because there's not definitive, clear evidence of Steve Ballmer specifically giving the $50 million that he put into this company or invested in this company being directly taken and given to Kawhi. Like, that's where you need to find proof of that, or else I don't know what the NBA could do other than this whole thing would just be, hey, we're going to punish you because there's some, evidence that would lend us to believe that you did it. But we don't have any concrete evidence. It's just evidence that we think you did it. And if you don't find concrete evidence, I don't know what else they could do.
Well, that's the thing, though. When it comes to the court of law, they would need concrete evidence. When it comes to, NBA
court of public opinion,
NBA court, pun intended, they don't really have to. So if, Silver and whoever he, sends in to investigate this, if they think they find enough, then they'll deal out, whatever punishment they think is fit for the amount of evidence that they have. And, you see how, rough they are just for, tampering stuff that half the time isn't even tampering. I remember that one time a couple of years ago, Magic Johnson was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he just said that Giannis was a great player. And they yelled at him for tampering because they said he was tampering because he complimented Giannis on a talk show, and that was trying to get him to come to the Lakers.
Well, according to reports, for sure, the NBA is taking this very seriously.
They should.
Absolutely. I just think that what Steve Ballmer said the other night, they conned me. Bro, the first thing that you never want to do if you're guilty of something is try to turn yourself into a victim. Like, it just never is going to work out. And the last thing that you'd want to do is try to turn yourself into a victim here. Because
You're a billionaire. You're the 6th richest person in the world. $50 million to you is pennies. It doesn't add up, dude.
He would have been better off just coming out and just going, no, look, it's not what it looks like. Once you guys actually look into my books and everything, you'll see that it's just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Instead of just coming out and just, like you said, pulling the victim card out right away and just going, oh no, it's, I'm a victim here. Don't point fingers at me and tell me I could get in trouble. I'm the victim of a crime all of a sudden because I got caught, allegedly.
And by the way, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to feel sorry for you that you potentially got conned for $50 million. I'm sorry, nobody, because you're a billionaire. Like, I don't feel sorry for you at all. So if you're coming out and you're saying those things and you're getting angry and you're upset and, you express that, I mean, again, you have to find proof of it happening, but still, it's not a good look. And it's going to make the NBA really take this thing seriously, which they absolutely should and are.
They told Ballmer that he got an inheritance from a Nigerian prince.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Coming up next, if you missed our conversation earlier in the week, breaking down tomorrow's game against San Diego State and Washington State, Chris King, the voice of Washington State, he joined us earlier in the week. You're going to hear that conversation coming up next on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Tonight, the Padres are on the road in Colorado to take on the Rockies. It's going to be Nick Pivetta on the hill for the Padres and Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. Last night, the NFL kicked off in Philadelphia as the Eagles held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20. Tonight, the Chargers take on the Chiefs in Brazil. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow, the Aztecs take on Washington State on the road. Our pregame coverage starts at 5:30. And tonight, you can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show beginning at 6 o'clock. Need HVAC? This month, get 0% for 18 months on a new system. Schedule your free proposal at AndersonPHA.com. Anderson, fast, reliable, wow.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim. Kevin AC is going to join us at 5 p.m. today. We have a lot to talk about with Kevin from Colorado. But right now, another pair of tickets for a Lil Wayne concert. All you got to do is be caller number 7, 877-767-4760. Brent, when is this concert again? And as he just put something in, the 10th. All right. September 10th, if you want to go to Lil Wayne, 877-767-4760. Caller number 7, call in right now and you've won a pair of Lil Wayne tickets. But earlier this week, we talked to Chris King, who is the Washington State play-by-play man for the football team. And we started our conversation off with what's his primary takeaways from week 1 of the college football season.
Well, thanks for having me. I would say the primary takeaway from week 1 for Washington State was survival.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look back on that game in a month or two and shrug your shoulders if it was an ugly win, and hopefully you build on that. And the old adage, the biggest improvements you make are from week 1 to week 2 in a season. But that would have been really bad news for WSU in their season had they lost out of the gate to Idaho. Now, Idaho deserves a ton of respect. They took Oregon down to the wire last year in their opener in Eugene. It was a Idaho team 3 years ago that came into Pullman for the opener, and WSU just hung on for a victory in that game. And then Washington State the next week went to Madison and beat Wisconsin on the road. So, you know, credit to Idaho, and week 1 could be a bit bumpy. But, I mean, I would say big picture outside of just survival for Washington State, it is a brand new head coach in Jimmy Rogers. There are over 70 new players on the roster. A chunk of those are guys that he brought with him from South Dakota State. He got the WSU job after having a lot of success at South Dakota State, which is one of the FCS powerhouse programs, led them to winning the national championship at the FCS level in 2023. But the thing that probably stood out the most where Washington State will look to improve is on the ground. It was not pretty last week, and Jimmy Rogers has preached, hey, we want to play physical football. We want to have success in the trenches. WSU mostly has been either air raid under Mike Leach or some more, little more modern variation of the air raid in the years since Mike Leach has no longer been the WSU coach. That's different. And Washington State ran the ball 22 times for 3 net yards last week. So that is the big talking point around Pullman with the program is how will that, take a big leap forward? Because last week the team was able to come away with the victory despite really having a tough time running the ball.
So the line on this game is moved. It's a -1.5 Washington State. Last year, we all know what happened here in San Diego. The Aztecs have completely turned over their entire roster. New quarterback, offensive line upgrades, a lot of returning players on defense for them. How do you see them matching up against Washington State this weekend and vice versa?
That's an excellent question. I mean, tip of the hat to San Diego State and what they were able to do week 1. Some similarities, taking on an FCS program that has been a stronger FCS program, and Stony Brook has had some recent success. So, and that was all San Diego State. I mean, you don't look at that tape last week and what San Diego State did against Stony Brook and be particularly excited to face that same defense that limited and really just not only shut out but shut down Stony Brook. And then offensively, the big theme talking to the WSU coaches going into last week was, okay, feeling out, because for WSU, there was a feeling out process of having all these guys together and playing as one for the first time. And for Idaho, they had a coaching change. So there was some sense of unknown. It was a first-time offensive coordinator. It was a defensive coordinator who hasn't been a defensive coordinator in 4 years. Well, you have that 1 week of tape to watch for San Diego State, but there's a lot of weapons, obviously, at the quarterback position, and then how well the running backs did in that game. So that's going to be a fascinating matchup. I just think overall, can WSU have more offensive success against San Diego State defense that was so good last week? And then on the flip side, WSU's defense deserves credit against Idaho. They gave up 10 points, but 3 of those points came when WSU lost a fumble at the 11-yard line, which gave Idaho great field position, and the defense held Idaho to just a field goal, which was crucial at that point late in the game.
Chris King with us right now, voice of the Washington State Cougars. Again, the Aztecs and Cougars coming up Saturday at 7:15, a game you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. So more big picture. What is it like in Pullman now? I mean, on the other side of what transpired with the old Pac-12, as we look towards the new Pac-12, what's the overall thought from the fan base about where Washington State, its athletic programs are heading moving forward with programs like San Diego State, Boise State, and others coming into the league?
Great question. I will say, and I'll get back to answering that specifically. I'm sure you've heard the Pac-12 after dark phrase. So, I mean, now that WSU and San Diego State will be playing a lot moving forward, this can kind of be maybe a little preview of Pac-12 after dark. And here locally in Pullman and on the Palouse, which is the name of the region where, kind of Pullman and into Moscow, Idaho, and the whole Palouse region, we call it Palouse after dark. So I have a little Palouse after dark on our hands coming up Saturday night between Washington State and San Diego State. It's hard to speak for everyone, but I think, and I went to WSU, so I feel this deeply, not just in my job, but also just as someone who went to WSU, whose wife went to WSU, whose, kids go to school wearing crimson and gray. It obviously is difficult in the sense of moving forward and what happened. There's still processing of what happened because it's just different of like, it was out of WSU's control what happened. And yet here you are in this position of making the most moving forward. And I think that, whether or not once UCLA and USC left, San Diego State was probably going to be part of that picture moving forward involving WSU. Now things happen even more where, maybe even some teams that would have been part of that are not part of that. But, it's definitely a transition process for the fan base to kind of wrap their mind around it. I think the biggest selling point is the fact that with the new Pac-12, there will be, is the way things are set up now, a path to the college football playoff. And even you look at some of the teams who left the old Pac-12 after USC and UCLA left, they don't have that clear of a path. I mean, hats off to them if they can make the college football playoff running through the Big Ten. It may be harder if you're outside of Oregon, and maybe UW can do it, but that's difficult. And then, of course, the teams in the ACC, that's difficult. And, Big 12 credit to Arizona State, but that's not the easiest path. But I think what WSU and San Diego State and Oregon State and Boise State will all be jockeying for will be who will kind of reign at the top of the new Pac-12 on the football front. There's going to be an opportunity for someone to seize that and to have a path to the college football playoff. I truly don't believe, whether it's the Mountain West, whether it's the AAC, I think the best program that will have the chance at that spot in the college football playoff will be coming from the Pac-12. And then on the hoops side, the hoops are going to be great. And that's a great credit to San Diego State. Gonzaga is obviously, kind of in our backyard for WSU. That's about an hour and 20-minute drive away from campus to campus. The hoops is going to be great in the new Pac-12. So I think WSU, too, in the old Pac-12, you were the school with some of the least amount of resources, if not the least amount of resources. And it's going to kind of take a point of view shift to be one of the teams that, hopefully are in the upper half or very, very top of having the most resources and expecting that success year in and year out. And, while WSU, it was never consistent necessarily, there's been some great accomplishments in WSU football history, most recently in the Mike Leach era and what happened in that Gardner Minshew year, but even in those other years, kind of with Luke Falk at quarterback. And then you go back to the Rose Bowls in the late 90s and the early 2000s under Mike Price, Drew Bledsoe being the number 1 overall pick. There's been some great football in WSU history, and this is just a unique new chapter that's being written.
A final one for me, Chris. From afar, What do you make of Sean Lewis? I know it was not a good first year last year, 3 wins, but had to turn over an entire program and start from the ground up. But Sean Lewis's style, up tempo, fast paced offense. What do you make of Sean Lewis from afar up in Washington?
Well, I don't think defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt for Washington State, I don't think he would consider this a fun matchup, considering what Sean Lewis has done in his career. I know excelling as an innovator when it comes to an offensive mind and having explosive offenses. I know last year, especially the end of the year, did not end how San Diego State would have wanted to. But for both WSU, year one with the new head coach, so many new guys over 70 plus. I mean, you're trying to stack those wins. And if you become bowl eligible, that's a big deal. And I would think from the San Diego State perspective, if you become bowl eligible, that's a big step forward in year 2 under Sean Lewis. And for both teams, when you're trying to add up those wins to get to that bowl eligible number, I mean, this is one that you look at, and you talked about too, how the outside perspective is this should be a close game on Saturday. This is a big one if you could get this victory and have it in your back pocket. So a ton of respect for Sean Lewis. I know as well, Rob Orich, the defensive coordinator for San Diego State, he spent a couple of years at Idaho, and that wasn't that long ago. So he'll be back up in the Palouse, and it did a great job last week as his first week as the defensive coordinator for San Diego State. So I think there's plenty of intriguing storylines for this game, not only for this year, but obviously this being a game that's going to be played a lot moving forward, whether it's on the gridiron or on the hardwood or across all sports with the new Pac-12.
Chris, appreciate you taking time for us. We're looking forward to getting up there. San Diego State and Washington State up in Pullman, Washington, Saturday night at 7:15. Be well. We'll see you this weekend, and thanks for hopping on in San Diego.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right, more coming up on the Padres and Rockies series coming up later in the show. Also, the 49ers season is officially over, and it hasn't even started yet. We'll also talk to Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Little Wayne tickets on the way as well. You're listening to Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, catch the Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. John and Rich sit down with the head coach and look back at last week's win and preview tomorrow's game at Washington State. The Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight at 6 p.m. on your home for Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. So we have some news with the Padres, some pitching news. Nestor Cortez, Brent, will be
Still
going
sucks.
on the... Yes, he does.
Oh, that's not the news?
No. Nestor Cortez sucks, but he's also going on the quote unquote IL with left bicep tendonitis.
Well, giving up back-to-back home runs will cause some inflammation, I guess.
Talk about the most phantom IL move ever. Like, we're just going to tell everybody you have left bicep tendonitis. Okay.
He said he'll do anything to help the team.
This is helping the team. Him not pitching will help the team. Ron Marinaccio was called up. That was the move today for Nestor Cortez going on the IL. Randy Vasquez is expected to be with the team. He might be with the team already, but that will require a different move. And the Padres have a TBD down for this weekend in between Pivetta and Cease. My guess is it might be Randy Vasquez on the mound, but then they'll have to make another move. And so we'll figure that out later. But my guess is they saw what Nestor Cortez did against the Orioles and said, yeah, no, we can't have that again. Like, we're not going to try Nestor Cortez anymore. And good. They shouldn't. He should not be pitching in any meaningful games in the next 22 days.
They probably had a nightmare about him pitching in Coors Field. It was like, nope, get up.
Yeah,
Set him down now.
Can't happen. Cannot do that. It's the most phantom IL ever. The Padres just announced it on X. But yeah, dude, come on. They had to get Nestor Cortez off this team. Are you serious? I mean, you can't have Nestor Cortez pitching for you in September when you're 2 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West and you need to start winning baseball games. You can't have that happen. But we'll see what happens tonight. Nick Pivetta brings his career 6 ERA to Coors Field, or his career 6 ERA at Coors Field against Kyle Freeland tonight. The big news of the day is that Luis Arraez not in the lineup against the lefty, coming off of an off day. Can't wait to talk to Kevin about that. And I can't wait to hear what Mike Schultz says. I can't wait. Because that's got to be one of the first questions, right, Brent? So Luis Arraez, well, we know what the first question is going to be because it's either going to be Scan or Pomeranz there. It'll be about the starting pitcher tonight, or it'll be some like, so what are you looking for from Nick Pivetta tonight? And then you'll get to, so Luis Arraez not in the lineup tonight. What's the deal with that? I'm very curious because my guess is Mike Schultz going to say, well, he's been playing a lot and we just like the matchup tonight with him coming off the bench, and he'll probably praise him, say how great he's been. And he's such a selfless guy. And oh my God, I would love to have 26 Luis Arraez on my team and yada, 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 yada. Because Mike Schultz can't give an answer without immediately going into the most cringe praising of his players possible. Like, he has to just he can't answer a question normally. It just will never happen with that guy. Never. And the later we're getting into this season, into year 2 of Mike Schultz, it's becoming way more apparent. Like, me and John, we talked about this last year. It's like, I don't know about this guy. But they're winning games, so it's hard to criticize a guy when you win a bunch of baseball games. But there's just something off with him. To me, there's always been something off with Mike Schultz. I can put my finger on it and I can look and say it's because of this, but it's just, there's other things that I'm sure that are happening, and by the way, it's not just the fans that feel this way. I have to believe that there are people in an organization that feel the same way, or at least are leaning towards feeling like, why is he doing this? Like, why is he acting like that? Like, why can't he just be normal? Like, can you just be normal, dude? But at the end of the day, the Mike Schilt conversation on how he is has nothing to do and should have nothing to do with the Padres on the field. Because the most important thing is what the Padres do on the field. Mike Schilt can act like the cringiest, thin-skinned guy on the planet, which he does. But again, that's a side story to the main story, which is the Padres on the field right now are playing awful baseball. And they have to be better. They've acknowledged it. They know that what's at stake here. And luckily for them, they're not completely buried, because if the Dodgers just played, 500 baseball the last month, Padres are dead. They're not winning the division. They're making the playoffs, but there's no hope of a division title. None. Zero. And because of the Dodgers' poor play, it's left this door open. Now, interesting from the Dodgers standpoint here is Tyler Glasnow, who was expected to pitch tonight, got scratched earlier in the day. I mean, they just have a million injuries. Don't know what he was scratched for. But you know who's starting tonight in his place on short notice, and he's going to be made out to be the hero of the day. Oh my, I can't believe such a selfless act that Shohei Ohtani has decided on short rest to go and help his team in any way possible and pitch tonight for the Dodgers and blah, 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 blah. Oh, I love Shohei. I love Shohei. Shut up. Like, okay, whatever. They got their own problems to deal with. Yeah, exactly. Anytime Shohei Ohtani's mentioned. So Dodgers, Orioles, Padres, Rockies starts tonight. And when you look around the rest of the National League here, Brent, that 4 seed kind of looks a little out of reach right now. Cubs have taken a 4.5 game lead over the Padres here. They won today 11-5 over the Nationals. If the Padres don't win tonight, that's a 5 game lead over the Padres for the 4 seed. Padres only lead the Mets by a game for the 6. I mean, right now, the likeliest of scenarios is either Padres at Cubs or Padres at Dodgers. I think that's what we could be looking at right here come playoff time if the Padres don't win the division.
Great. So go to LA or go to cold ass Chicago at the end of September.
Right. Go to LA, place that you can't win for 3 games, or go to Chicago, where it will be very tough there to play and win. Kind of makes this series pretty big this weekend, doesn't it? Now, again, makes them all big, but still, just go out and win a game tonight, please. That's all everybody's asking for. Is just win a game. I don't care how you win, just win a game. All right, coming up next, we have The Wrap. Kevin Acey is going to join us at 5 p.m. And also Christian McCaffrey, bro. Seriously, are we really going to do this again? We'll talk about that coming up next on Jon and Jim right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer with new vehicles arriving daily, including the most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today, or make sure to head to Toyota.com if you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota. There you can check out all the latest offers, search inventory. Finding the Toyota that's just right for you starts at Toyota.com. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles helps to create a greener planet. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup supports a greener planet with a wide range of electrified vehicles, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and fully electric vehicles. Or take each day further than you thought possible. A new Camry with its stylish looks that'll make an impression wherever you go. See your Toyota dealer today and discover what makes Camry legendary. There's no better time than now to get your local Toyota dealer. Get your local Toyota dealer today or Toyota.com. That's Toyota.com. Your Toyota dealers, we make it easy.
This report is sponsored by Bill Howe Plumbing. After an off day, the Padres are back at it tonight on the road to take on Colorado. It's going to be Nick Pivetta pitching for the Padres and Kyle Freeland on the hill for the Rockies. First pitch is at 5:40. Last night, the NFL season kicked off in Philly as the Eagles held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20. Tonight, the Chargers take on the Chiefs in Brazil. Kickoff is set for 5 p.m. Tomorrow night, the Aztecs take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts right here at 5:30. You can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show tonight starting at 6 o'clock. Traffic may be slow, but your drains don't have to be. The experts at Bill Howe have been helping San Diego with their plumbing needs for 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE because we know how. License number 488-413.
Your favorite pair, Jon and Jim.
The number of computer issues that Jim has experienced since I've known him. He spent a year without internet. We did an internet show. We did the wrap-up show. You had no internet for a year. But this is pre-Aaron.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you found Aaron because I feel like Aaron kind of got your life in order.
Yeah.
Right? You were a little bit like the Padres. 2-8 over a 10-game stretch.
Right? Yeah.
I might need to be like, Aaron,
Get him a new computer.
Spike. I mean, it's $2,000. You guys are loaded.
We're not.
Now, live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 3 of Jon and Jim here on a Friday. Yeah, we're definitely not loaded, me and Aaron. Not even close. But anyway, hour 3 of Jon and Jim, me and Brent, taking you to 6 o'clock tonight. The Sean Lewis Coaches Show is at 6 p.m., so make sure you stay tuned for that. We also have NFL football in about an hour in Brazil. That's going to be fun. I'm interested to see what it looks like on YouTube. So that'll be cool. The NFL, they're trying to take over everything.
I'm really happy about the YouTube stuff.
I'm happy about the YouTube stuff as well. The only thing that I'm not happy about is that because the game will start during the show, I can't have it on one of these televisions, but beggars can't be choosers. And again, go home, just turn on YouTube on my television and then watch the game. But can't wait for that. And then we have a full slate of NFL games this weekend. We'll get into all of those matchups later in the show. But right now, Brent, let's get to it.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Should Luis Ariz be on the bench versus lefties for the rest of the season?
Yes. Now, I don't obviously know, and nobody knows how many lefties they're going to face the rest of the year. But when there is a lefty on the mound, Luis Ariz, for the best optimal lineup, shouldn't be in it. Plain and simple. When there's a righty on the mound, absolutely. Luis Ariz, you're in the lineup. But when there's a lefty, no, can't have it. Sorry. I'm very interested to see, or not see, but I'm very interested to know how that process came about. And we might not ever find out. We might not know if this has been in the works for a while or not. Now, Kevin did mention to us that, possibly there was some conversation of it, but again, it's interesting how after an off day, this happens. So we'll also hear from Mike Schultz later in the show. We'll see if he actually can answer a question like a normal person or not. All right, Brent, next question.
Who do you have tonight, Chiefs or Chargers?
Everyone loves the Chargers.
It's Chiefs +3, by the way.
Chiefs +3?
Yeah, or -3, I should.
Okay, I was going to say, wow.
Yeah, Chiefs are favored by 3.
Yeah, Chiefs -3.5.
Oh, it went up a half.
Yeah, it's -3.5 right now. I was going to say, wow, Chargers are favored by 3? Oh. But the Chiefs are favored by 3.5. Games in Brazil, Sao Paulo, and I have to take the Chiefs. I just, it's the thing where you have to keep picking that team that keeps on winning until they just prove that they can't win anymore, or until they lose. Because if you keep picking against them and they keep winning, you look like an idiot. So, the Super Bowl last year, picked the Chiefs because why wouldn't you? They got boat raced. But in the regular season, in the West, the AFC West, it's been all Chiefs. Chargers, they could be competitive, but I'm going to need to see it. Year 2 of Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert doesn't have many weapons. They got a rookie running back. They got another running back in Najee Harris that likes to play with fireworks. So I'm picking the Chiefs tonight. Who you got, Brent?
I'll take the Chiefs too. I don't think it'll be that close. I'm kind of interested to see how many Chargers fans they
Show
are.
up.
Well, no, that they have in Brazil because
look at people's jerseys to make it look like more.
There's the running joke, that they don't really have any fans, but all these teams that don't have any fans when they go across seas, nobody likes the Jaguars, but they go to England and they're like, we love the Jaguars. Right. So I think it would be funny if home games here in the States, the Chargers can't get any fans, but then they go to San Paulo and they're going to be the most popular team in the NFL.
Bunch of Charger fans in San Paulo. Wow. All right, Brent, next question.
Is tonight a must-win game for the Padres?
It's pretty close. Again, season's not over if they lose, but look, if they lose tonight, that will be really bad. It will be bad. And of course, what's going to happen if they lose? The Dodgers would lose. And then they'll be like, well, no ground lost. Still two back.
Ohtani's pitching out of the good graces of his heart.
Exactly.
They won't lose.
It feels like a must win tonight. Not going to lie. Feels like a game that you just can't lose, especially with Nick Pivetta on the mound. But, his numbers, they're not good at Coors Field. We'll see if he can flip the script there. But it does feel like this game tonight, the Padres, like you have to win. You can't lose tonight. Coming off getting swept by one of the worst teams in baseball. To then potentially, if you lose tonight to the worst team in baseball, can't even imagine what the chat would be like for the wrap-up show later tonight. Oh, God. Social media would lose their mind. Padres fans would lose their mind. It just would not be good. And I'm sure if they lost tonight, I would put I'd put a good amount of money down on the prop bet of Mike Schilt 100% yelling at Kevin Acee. Like that would hit if they lost tonight. All right, Brent, final question.
If they lose, Kevin's just be like, anyone else want to go first?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, guys.
I'll go second.
Schilt's going to be all butthurt. I can't do this.
Who's your Super Bowl matchup this year?
I think the easy answer is Bills-Eagles, right? That's the easiest matchup to go with, which I'm seeing a lot of. But when you look here, the NFC, it's hard to not take the Eagles, right?
They're the only team I can even think of in the NFC that would have a shot because I think Green Bay is going to be overrated.
We know you're not taking Green Bay. We know that you're probably not taking the Lions, and you wouldn't take the Bears either.
No, I wouldn't take the Bears. Detroit, their whole thing is I want to see how much they're going to miss all those coaches they lost.
They lost a lot of
how much
coordinators.
How much of that was Dan Campbell and how much of it was his assistants? That's what I'm interested in before I pick Detroit because I want to see if they're the same team just with different coordinators or were the coordinators really the big difference?
Mm-hmm. And look, what you got?
And AFC, I think this year's got to be the year that either Josh Allen finally breaks through or Ravens finally break through. I think that one of them, I think we're finally going to not have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year. I think it'll be either the Bills or the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll go with my Super Bowl matchup before the start of this season. I'll go Baltimore and Philadelphia. I think that Buffalo-Baltimore on Sunday Night Football this weekend could be an AFC championship preview. We'll see. Kansas City, I know that they lost one game that mattered all last year, and that was the Super Bowl. But they're missing a lot of weapons. Rashee Rice, he's out. Travis Kelce is about to retire and go live a life with Taylor Swift. Patrick Mahomes did not have a good season last year at all. I need to see it from the Chiefs because it's easy to be like, oh yeah, Chiefs are going to win the division again and be in the AFC title game like they've, been for the last, 5 straight seasons or 6 straight seasons or whatever it is. But again, at some point, they're not going to be in the AFC title game. There's going to be years, even with Tom Brady, he wasn't always in the AFC title game. There are going to be years when they don't make it. Now, I still think they're a good team. They obviously have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes isn't as good as he used to be.
Well, and I think their division's getting better, too, because Denver's improved a lot the last couple seasons.
I think their division could be the best in the NFL.
Well, there's even some people that are picking the Broncos to win the division.
A lot of people are picking the Broncos. Everyone loves the Broncos this year. Broncos, you could argue on paper, have the best defense in the league. We'll see how it plays out in real time on the field. But look, I think the AFC West with Denver, Kansas City, an improved Raider team with actually a competent head coach now in Pete Carroll, and a Chargers team with Jim Harbaugh. That is a gauntlet division of coaches. Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Pete Carroll. It doesn't get much better than that.
Like, find me a division with better coaches up and down the division than that. I mean, the NFC West, you have Shanahan and McVay, but in Seattle, first-time head coach, and Arizona coach that hasn't really done anything yet there. The NFC North has some good coaches with LaFleur, Dan Campbell. We'll see what Ben Johnson does in Chicago. But man, it does look like the AFC West could become a gauntlet this year, and that's why I can't just sit here and be like, "Yeah, Chiefs are going to just roll the division. They're going to be 15-1 or 15-2, whatever." I think the Chiefs are going to have a tough time. And Patrick Mahomes, don't get me wrong, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I mean, you look at his numbers over the last couple of years here, Brent. It's not like these gaudy numbers that everyone thinks he's had. I mean, his last 2 seasons, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Both seasons, 67% completion percentage, quarterback ratings in the 90s. Again, he is a great quarterback, but he's not putting up gaudy numbers like he used to. The 50 touchdown, the 38 touchdowns, the 41 touchdowns. And it's because his weapons aren't as good as they used to be.
Well, a lot of it too, I think, is, when he first came out, he had that Tyreek Hill just deep ball, that he could go to almost.
Dude, he had so many weapons and a better Travis Kelce, closer to his prime.
Once teams kind of got some footage on it, though, they kind of were like, okay, we're not going to let them beat us like that. We're just going to sit back in deep coverage so they can't, throw over the top with the deep ball, and we're going to make them just throw a bunch of short little passes. And I don't say struggle because he still puts up good numbers, but he didn't put up the big numbers like he was doing because they took the deep ball away from him, and they just made him nickel and dime him all the way down the field.
Mm-hmm. All right, coming up next, if you missed our conversation yesterday with San Diego Wave player Kira Carusa, she joined us in studio to get you ready for Alex Morgan's jersey retirement on Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium. If you missed that conversation, you heard that coming up next. And also, I need to spend an entire segment on Christian McCaffrey. Just humor me at the bottom of the hour here. All that coming up next on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our $5,000 winners in the iHearts Thank a Teacher powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher making a difference, and maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 or more for their classroom work. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. All right. Yesterday afternoon, we had a very special guest in studio, Kira Carusa. She is a player on the San Diego Wave. She wears number 19 for Tony Gwynn. She was in studio, and she was getting us ready for a special Sunday night at Snapdragon Stadium where Alex Morgan's number 13 will be retired by the San Diego Wave. Here's our conversation yesterday. It started with what's going to happen and how they're looking forward to Sunday night.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of getting to play with Alex as one of my teammates and having also gotten to play against her as well as an opponent. And massive. I mean, everything that her name is for the game and for women's sports in general is massive for us, but then also for the Wave as well. I mean, one of the big names to first come to the franchise when the franchise was first brought in, leading us to, playoff appearances, winning the Shield last year. And just as a player and as a person for the community in San Diego is everything. And for us to be able to retire her iconic number 13 here in San Diego is everything.
Do you have an Alex Morgan story that sticks out to you while playing with her?
Wow, do I have an Alex Morgan story? Okay, okay. You know what? I do what comes to mind, as do many. But I do think about when we won the Shield last year. We won against Louisville at home. 2 seasons ago, when we won the Shield. We won against Louisville at home, and she scored a goal in that game, one of our title clinching goals, and it was just like a phenomenal. Like as a 9, like we play the same position. And so as a 9, like you're just sitting there and you're just clapping your hands because you're just like, that is just the kind of goal you want to be scoring. But then also for that to be at home in Snapdragon to clinch the Shield and then to celebrate that as a team on the field afterwards. I mean, what person but Alex to be able to do that?
Right. Yeah, it's a storybook. I mean,
Yeah.
Her career kind of feels like a storybook. And
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Celebrating it this weekend is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So tickets are available right now for Sunday. Tickets moving fast, SanDiegoWaveFC.com. Now we also have Megan with us here in studio. Tell us about what's going on, Megan. This leading up to this event, there's a lot of celebration going on this week with the Alex Morgan jersey retirement night. What's going on this week in San Diego?
Lots going on. So we'll start with tomorrow, actually, is a huge event that I want to encourage fans to come out to at Mike Hess Brewery in North Park. They're painting a huge mural of Alex outside the wall, permanent, done by a local San Diego artist. And that's going to be from 3 to 7 o'clock. And one of the coolest things that I think we're doing, we built these giant number 13 numbers that are wrapped in her iconic pink pre-wrap that she was famously known for. And fans are encouraged to either bring written letters or there'll be paper and pen there for them to write letters to Alex that are going to be pinned in these giant numbers. And these numbers are going to be transported to Snapdragon on Saturday for another pop-up event. The merch store is going to be open. Really cool Alex-only merchandise available with these giant numbers. And then, of course, Sunday is the big party. 2 p.m. is when FanFest starts. A DJ, food, drinks, music, leading into the 5:30 kickoff, and then grand finale ceremony following the game.
That's amazing. Speaking of murals,
Yeah.
you have a mural.
Yes,
and I mean, there's murals all over town, but to have a mural of yourself, that must have been a pretty cool experience. Well, what did that feel like to you when you found out that you were getting a mural and then seeing it for the first time?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Well, I mean, I must say, seeing yourself painted on the side of a building can be a very extreme experience. I mean, it's everything. I mean, being from San Diego and getting to play and represent San Diego on this stage, but also get to impact my community in the ways in which, I've been able to and had those opportunities. It means everything that, the community has embraced me in the same capacity, in the same way. And to have something like that put up for yourself is just, it's wild. But what I think the thing I have the most pride in is that it's something I share and celebrate with every single person who led me to where I am. I mean, I wouldn't be here without the scaffolding and the resources that, my community and my family, my friends, like my softball coaches, my sister's best friends' parents who like watched me grow up. People you run into the grocery store and they go like, "Oh my gosh, Kira." So like that is something that I share that with them just as much as I like and take pride in myself. But it was awesome, and it's really cool to know that your hometown, loves you like that.
Now, when you saw the mural for the first time, you're like, "Wow, that looks exactly like me." Like,
yeah, of course. No, actually, I mean, our muralist, phenomenal work. I mean, he's done murals around the city for other San Diego players, but also for Padres and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And again, I couldn't thank him enough for really the effort and the work and the detail that he put into it, and the way he even added a little shamrock on it, a little clover for since I'm Irish American, I represent the Republic of Ireland as well. And I sent that to my granddie, who's my Irish grandmother up in San Francisco, and I was like, that is something that is so special. Like that means everything to me and to my family. So thank you.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kira Caruso with us in studio. Again, a forward for the Wave. We have Megan O'Keefe with us as well, Director of Communications for the Wave. Again, San Diego Wave taking on Houston this weekend, Sunday at 5:30. Tickets are available right now, moving fast, SanDiegoWaveFC.com. Kira, you mentioned the fact that you're out of San Diego, Del Norte.
Yeah, Del Norte.
I mean, is it kind of surreal? Like when you're growing up, you're not thinking about playing professional soccer necessarily in the city of San Diego, and then you have this opportunity for multiple years. I mean, is it a pinch me type experience being here in San Diego playing professionally?
Absolutely. I think the most surreal experience is when I'm like back. I'm still close with a few of my teachers there and some of the admin. And if I run into them, if I go and do work at Del Norte, like I'll do some, or even at my like old middle school, I went to Oak Valley. And you're suddenly talking to these teachers who in these classrooms that you were in, and you're thinking like, wow, like the kids in these seats that was me in those seats. Maybe not at the time getting to see a woman or someone who looked like me in this position. And now they get to look at me as someone like who, is like them in this position, and knowing that like it's something that they can do, which is everything to me. So like, yeah, it's quite surreal.
Talking about what you guys done this year on the field, how has this season been so far, and the keys to your success this year? Can you just talk about that and looking forward here for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think that coming into this season, we internally had a lot of high expectations, and externally we said people, and there will be variables, and people will say what they want to say. They'll take power rankings based on reflections of XYZ, but internally we knew with the culture, with the players, with the mentality, with the way in which we play football in San Diego, that was what we always were going to stand on and always stand behind and always believe in. And I think that especially in the women's game, that is a really special X factor to teams. And you can see in our performance and the way in which we represent the Wave, that's something that we've really stuck to, tried and true, regardless of where we were in the season or what was said about us. So really, really happy to see where we are. I mean, we're in playoff contention right now. We're competing for the league, and that's everything we want to be in.
Megan, one more time for our listeners. Again, this weekend, Alex Morgan Jersey Retirement Night. Sunday, again, tickets at SanDiegoWaveFC.com. What do you want our listeners to know about what's going on this weekend?
I think it's just going to be a historic event. We got to celebrate her last year, with it being the last time she was playing on the pitch. But this is a match for fans to feel a part of it. They get to write a letter to her, and there's going to be a party beforehand. And just to be that close to an icon, someone who has changed this sport on and off the field, it's an event you'll never forget.
All right, SanDiegoWaveFC.com.
All right, so yeah, Sunday is going to be a very special day at Snapdragon Stadium. Alex Morgan getting her number retired there. So if you want to go, pick up tickets right now. All right, coming up next, just humor me for like 12 minutes because it's deja vu all over again for the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey. We'll talk about a disaster brewing in the Bay Area. All that coming up next. And Kevin Acey joining us at 5 right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Bill Howe Plumbing. The Padres are back at it tonight, starting a set against the Rockies in Colorado. It's going to be Nick Pivetta on the hill for the Padres and Kyle Freeland pitching for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 6:40. Last night, the NFL season kicked off in Philly as the Eagles held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20 in a wild game. Tonight, the Chargers take on Kansas City in Brazil. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow night, the Aztecs go on the road to take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts right here at 5:30. And you can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John and Rich tonight starting at 6 o'clock. Traffic may be slow, but your drains don't have to be. The experts at Bill Howe have been helping San Diego with their plumbing needs for 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE because we know how. License number 488413.
All right, back here on Jon and Jim, about 26 minutes away from kickoff in Brazil between the Chiefs and the Chargers. And week 1 kicks off on Sunday officially. I mean, I know the official start was last night, but like the full slate of games on Sunday afternoon. My 49ers up in Seattle taking on the Seahawks, and their season's officially over. It hasn't even started yet. It's over. So Chris McCaffrey, who dealt with bilateral Achilles tendonitis last year. A lot of it having to do probably with the fact that Kyle Shanahan ran him into the ground in 2023. Now, again, what is he supposed to do? He was their best player or one of their best players, and he helped lead him to a Super Bowl. So, of course, you're going to give the guy as many touches as possible. But at what cost? And they didn't even win the Super Bowl. So it's not like they can say, oh, well, you know, won the Super Bowl, but it's okay if McCaffrey's dead. So he dealt with this calf injury last year, right before the season started. All right. Right before the season started, he mysteriously popped up on the injury report with a calf injury or just a calf issue. And they're playing Sunday Night Football, I believe, against the Jets. I think it was the Jets because Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback for the Jets last year. Yeah, it was against the Jets, Sunday Night Football. And he randomly popped up on the injury report. And this is what he said. First clip, Brent. This is what he said last year, right before week 1, when he popped up mysteriously on the injury report with a calf injury.
Listed Phillies as well, which picks up a lot of red flags. So is that a concern, a new concern? How is that?
Not a concern for me. No.
You don't mind playing on
This is something where you sat out maybe practice longer than you would have during season. Is that a precaution or
every day presents new challenges? You know, it's just, you got to do what you got to do.
Okay, so if you heard there, he said, no concerns. I'm ready to go for week 1. You know, things present different challenges, but I'll be ready to go. That was almost a year ago to the day. That was on September 6th, 2024. Now, it's September 5th, 2025. He pops up on the injury report with a calf injury. Doesn't practice today. He's limited yesterday. This is what Chris McCaffrey had to say today about his calf injury.
Right now, I feel great about my physical condition.
What happened yesterday?
Nothing serious, I can tell you that. I feel great about where I'm at. Just unfortunately, when you have an injury history that I have, you know, sometimes when you don't practice, things get blown out of proportion. But like I said, I feel great.
Does it feel different than it felt last summer?
Yeah, I mean, I've forgotten about last year. Forgot about the year before that. You know, I'm focused on this week and playing Seattle on Sunday.
Christian, just kind of thing in practice where you felt something and you just want to be real cautious with it. Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to go into anything that happened, but as I felt like it was a smart thing to do to not finish the practice because I've been there before and I've been my own worst enemy in situations like that, and I was proud of myself for not doing that again. And like I said, I went through a whole training camp, feel great right where I'm at.
The artificial turf is not kind to some players' lower bodies. Is that going to factor into the decision the next 2 weeks also?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, playing on it once every, twice in 14 days should be all right.
Do you plan to play on Sunday?
I always plan to play. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's done. It's one of those things where it's like, I'll believe it when I see it. Said the exact same thing last year. I'm seeing a lot of reports like, oh, Chris McCaffrey on his calf Achilles injury. Not a concern for me at all. That was in 2024 before the start of the season. 2025, Achilles calf injury. I feel great. I'm focused on playing on Sunday. Deja vu. It's deja vu. And I'm sorry. If you drafted Christian McCaffrey in your fantasy drafts, which I stupidly did, I'm such an idiot. I am an idiot. My name is Jim Russell, and I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's done. I don't know what else to say. There's no way that he's going to be healthy ever again in his career. This is an injury that will pop up for the rest of his career. We'll probably never see a healthy Christian McCaffrey ever again. The 2023 season, he was phenomenal. Deservedly was the offensive player of the year. Amazing. But it came at a price. And the price was he'll never, ever, ever be the same ever again. It's just facts. There's no way he's going to be 100%. This thing will pop up for the rest of his career. I guarantee you he misses time this year, Brent. There's no way he doesn't. I would be shocked if he plays every game. And by the way, if he gets over 300 touches, no chance. None.
That's why I like, oh no, I feel great. Not great enough to practice or play, but I feel great.
I feel great. I won't play, but I feel great.
Well, and the other thing that stuck out to me is that makes me think it's worse than what he's letting on is when he said this.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to go into anything that happened, but
yeah, I'm not supposed to talk about, my injury at all. But no, it's cool. There's no injury. I'm great.
Yeah, dude, we know what's happening here. Kyle Shanahan said today he's questionable, and then he backed it up with questionable concern. Bro, what? My guess right now, if I were a betting man, which I'm not, he doesn't play on Sunday.
They play at 10 or 1.
They play at 1 because they're up in Seattle. I would bet money right now. If I had to bet, my best bet is he does not play on Sunday.
I bet he doesn't play, but they won't tell anybody until it
will be just like last year.
2. Yeah.
Just like last year. What happened last year is going into Sunday Night Football, Christian McCaffrey said exactly what he said today. Last year at this time, he's ready to go. He feels great, blah, blah, blah. And then 30 minutes or right as you needed to put in your designated players that are going to be missing that game, Chris McCaffrey showed up on the injury report and everyone's like, excuse me? And then he proceeded to miss 2.5 months. And then when he came back, he broke his knee in Buffalo. So yeah, if you drafted Christian McCaffrey, you don't have to be a 49ers fan, but a lot of people out there have Christian McCaffrey on their fantasy team. I'll raise my hand. I'm an idiot. I didn't draft him first overall for my draft. In my first round, I picked him in my second round because he was there and I was like, you know what, screw it. But that's my mistake. My bad. I'm to blame for this. I'm sorry for all Christian McCaffrey fantasy owners out there and any 49ers fan listening.
You should know better.
Because I should know better. I absolutely should. You never draft one of your players or on your favorite team, or you don't draft a guy with injury concern. And what is Christian McCaffrey? Injury concern. So yeah, this 49ers season probably over. And it hasn't even started yet because he's other than Brock Purdy. I mean, if they lose Brock Purdy, no shot in hell. But Christian McCaffrey, you could argue he's either their most important or
second most important player on their team. They lose him, even though they have a soft schedule, pretty much cooked. All right, coming up next, we have Mike Schilt sound for you. Mike Schilt pregame in Colorado. You're going to hear that coming up next. And then Kevin Acee joins me at 5 p.m. from Denver. Stay right here on Jon and Jim, live on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, back here on Jon and Jim, Kevin Acee joining me at the top of the hour. Mike Schilt spoke to the media. I can't wait to hear this. I'm sure it's a long scrum, right, Brent?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Mike Schilt lasted only 2 minutes. All right, let's hear what Mike Schilt had to say.
Don't know about the timeline, but he had a really good day yesterday through a game in Arizona.
Pause this.
They call it bridge camp.
Who's he talking about? You know,
Michael King.
Okay, so this is Mike Schilt talking about Michael King. My bad.
Don't know about the timeline, but he had a really good day yesterday through a game in Arizona. They call it bridge camp. It was against another team. Went 5 innings, right at 62 pitches, fielded his position, felt good afterwards, feels good today, and optimistic about a start for the Padres coming up soon, and we'll determine when.
With the situation being somewhat fluid, it seemed like for tomorrow's start, are you in a position to name a starter for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, it's Randy Vasquez.
Any other corresponding moves or moves in any way that we should know about?
I don't know if it's been announced yet. I don't know if I have the clout to announce a roster move. It's out of my pay grade. But Nestor Cortez is going on the IL with some tendonitis. Yeah, we got Marinaccio back.
The tendonitis, can you be any more specific as to other sub-pivots the throwing arm, but can you dial that in?
Elbow.
Left elbow.
Correct.
Related to what he was done with earlier at all?
I think, he's been a little ouchy all year, so, a little bit more than normal.
It's back.
You said Marinaccio?
I did. Yes, sir.
Mike, you've said that you've got to sit a good left-hander every day now since the trade deadline. Today it's Luis. What led you to, the lineup configuration today, run up top in the 2-hole?
I've always played a lot this year. A couple things, not the primary one, but the way things lined up was he was able to get an extra day after an off day, so it's 2 full days for him. O'Hearn and Sheets have been really good against lefties. We got a lefty on their side today, and that's the highlights of it.
Coors Field play in a part of too, like place every ward, slog and they slog.
It's a part, but we take Louis anywhere.
Okay, so first thing, he dropped a little ouchie when talking about Nestor Cortez, which is amazing. You're watching us on YouTube. You saw my reaction. You didn't see Brent's, but both of us go, "Oh my gosh!" He dropped a little ouchie. You have it, Brent?
He's been a little ouchie all year, so
he's been a little ouchie all year. Oh my gosh! Oh, Mike Schilt, dude is. He
could be talking about Christian McCaffrey.
He's been a little ouchie all year, so
you know what, Brent? Too soon. Okay, so little ouchie, dropped little ouchie. Then how he started that, like he did not sound particularly confident with Michael King returning anytime soon. Like this potentially could become a huge story here if Michael King doesn't make his next start with the Padres up at the big leagues against the Reds next week. Can I hear what he said? What he had to say about Michael King again? Because I feel like he's still kind of beating around the bush here. Here's what Mike Schilt had to say about Michael King. Listen.
Don't know about the timeline, but he had a really good day yesterday through a game in Arizona. They call it bridge camp. It was against another team. Went 5 innings, right at 62 pitches, fielded his position, felt good afterwards, feels good today, and optimistic about a start for the Padres coming up soon, and we'll determine when.
Okay, don't know a timeline. Again, when you drop the don't know a timeline.
When you start your statement with it's usually not a good sign.
Like, I don't really know.
Excuse me, sir. Do you know how fast you were going?
Like
no,
78 and a 50. And then the Luis Ariz explanation. Let me break. Stop. Yeah, we decided today to give him another off day. He's played a lot. He got 22 games remaining, Mike. Manny Machado said it yesterday. There's no time for off days anymore. You're not getting an off day. That's not how this works. What you're doing is you're putting the best lineup out there. to win as many games as possible. We know what you're doing, but you won't say what you're doing because you don't want to hurt the players' feelings publicly. I get it. Now we'll see if they're going to continue down this path the next time they face a lefty. My guess, because Mike Schilt is stubborn, Luis Ariz will be in there, and then probably Ryan O'Hearn will be on the bench, or Gavin Sheets will be on the bench. I don't know. I can't wait to talk to Kevin about this because I after an off day, you're giving him an off day against a lefty, and your excuse for it, or at least your reasoning for it, is, well, he's played a lot this year. Okay, so who cares? No, you got 22 games remaining in your season. Like, there's no time for rest. Manny Machado even said it yesterday. Manny Machado, who's begging for off days because, he needs them. He's like, there's no time for them. So don't give me the BS excuse that you're giving Ariz an off day. Stop. It just makes you sound like you're not looking at what's staring you in front of the face, which is he's not good against lefties and he shouldn't be out there against lefties to start a game. Like, completely missing the point. That's Mike Schilt. Stubborn as could be. All right, coming up next, Kevin Acee is going to join us from Colorado. We're going to talk to him about everything with the lineup, Michael King, and more. And right now, Brent, caller number 7, September 10th, Lil Wayne in San Diego, 877-767-4760. If you want a pair of tickets to see Lil Wayne on September 10th here in San Diego, all you got to do is be caller number 7, 877-767-4760. Kevin Acee coming up next right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
He's been a little ouchy all year, so
After the off day, the Padres are back at it on the road tonight to face Colorado. It's going to be Nick Pivetta on the hill for the Padres and Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. First pitch is set for 5:40. Last night, the Eagles kicked off the NFL season and held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20. Tonight, the Chargers take on the Chiefs in Brazil. Kickoff is just in a mere matter of moments. And tomorrow night, the Aztecs go on the road to take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts right here at 5:30, and you can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show starting tonight at 6 o'clock.
Your favorite pair, Jon and Jim.
The number
But I
of
can't.
computer issues that Jim has experienced since I've known him. He spent a year without internet. We did an internet show. We did the wrap-up show. You had no internet for a year. This is pre-Aaron.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you found Aaron because I feel like Aaron kind of got your life in order.
Yeah.
Right? You were a little bit like the Padres. 2-8 over a 10-game stretch. Right?
Yeah.
I might need to be like, Aaron,
Get him a new computer.
Spike. I mean, it's $2,000. You guys are loaded.
We're not.
Now, live from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, Jon and Jim.
All right, final hour of Jon and Jim here on a Friday. Kevin Acey joining us from Denver. Kevin, great for you to join us once again. Just me today. It's just me today. Oh, Colorado, my bad. I don't know the map very well, Kevin. So wherever you are. So all right, let's get to it. Luis Ariz, he's not in the lineup tonight. No, lefty on the mound, off day yesterday. What's going on here? Is this going to be a situation where they don't have him in the lineup versus a lefty for the rest of the season, or is this just a one-off that they give him an off day, like Mike Schultz said?
I think it's probably an off day. So this is something that I talked to a couple people about, and no one told me it was going to happen. But this was like a possibility. I'm like, well, I guess if you want to, we're talking about fitting all the lefties in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you want to, you keep a rise out against lefties. But last time they did O'Hearn, is that right? Against a lefty, was out against a lefty.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is an alternating thing. I do. I don't see him going away from his. I don't want him to come off as sarcastic at all. Like into Ariz, his belief in Ariz. The fact that Ariz does, get a lot of hits. I mean, I don't see this as a regular thing, though. We're getting awful close to the point where, like, your best lineup, and now Schultz will say his best lineup's in there every day, but like, where your best lineup is the one that you go with. So who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season?
Yeah, and the thing here is going forward. It's all about winning as many games as possible, and I feel like Mike Schultz. He's so like, these are my guys, and we have to do it a certain way. Is he capable of, I guess, leaning into, hey, we need to do this because we need to win, and enough about maybe, these are my guys. Like, this is the best option to go forward. Is he capable of doing that?
I want to say yes because like he has done it, but where you're on kind of like, I think the right path is he hasn't had to do it with someone of this stature. Like,
oh, do we lose you? I think we lost you, Kevin. Right, to see if you can get back on the line. Kevin's phone strikes again. He was onto something really good there. He's onto something really good. We'll see if we can get Kevin back on the line. We have him. We have him. All right, Kevin. You were onto something really good. Start where you started again because we couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Of course. What the hell? That was our phones right there. I heard it. That was our phones. It's like, yeah, sure. Sniper. Pew, pew, pew. We'll try to get Kevin back. We need to talk to Kevin about this. Look, it's becoming more clear. I think this is Kevin's tone is like, all right,
the severity of moving guys out of the lineup of Luis Ariza's stature for the betterment of the team feels like it could be upon us, but it also could just feel like Mike Schultz giving them an off day today. But I mean, it's just so interesting how, it happens to be against a lefty. Like, what? Of course it's against the lefty. And of course it's going to bring up these questions. Why wouldn't it? All right, do we have Kevin back? All right, let's try this again. Kevin.
I guess you have me back. I'm sorry. I have no idea what's happening.
I'm blaming our phones always.
Schultz has won a lot with his guys, and so he's never had to be at this place where you're talking about. Like, I would say that he has made changes, like that he has, but it hasn't been with one of the quote unquote core guys, like that you're now talking about him possibly moving out of there. Like, I can make an argument a lot of ways. I can make an argument for Luis Ariza being a part of this lineup on a regular basis. I don't know about the 2 spot, but I can make that argument. I can also make that argument that no, you know what, Ryan O'Hearn plays superior first base, so I'm not sure, like, and he's provides you power, and he really has been on base more than Luis Ariza, so I'm not sure where you would have an argument for Ariza. Like, I can go a lot of different ways on this. I'm trained.
I think it's more or less like waiting for Mike Schultz to maybe take some chances and to switch things up and not be afraid to switch things up, because going into a postseason run here, Kevin, as you know, you can't just be status quo with everything and hope everything turns out. Like, if something's not working, you have to be quick to act and you have to make changes on the fly. And so it's kind of, that's where I'm sitting with my, like, is he capable of doing that for a postseason run where you got to make some changes? And a lot of times Mike Schultz says, this is how we've done things all year long, so we're going to continue to do it. Of course, it's got us to this point, but you can't always do those things. Would you agree?
When you have other options, and it appears that they have other options now, because I'm a big guy on just because you make changes or don't make changes doesn't mean it was wrong or right. Like, there's a lot of times where you're saying, well, if you did this, it would work out. Not you, Jim. I'm saying people, right? Like us, all of us. If you did this, it would work out. Really? How do you know that will work out? Yeah. So, like, but yes, in this instance, see, I'm not sure where in the past he was supposed to have made changes. Like this, I mean, and I could be missing something, but like this is something where you go, gosh, man, you got the options. Like, what's happening here? Why aren't you? I understand that. I do. I'm not sure the whole idea of the fact that he hasn't made changes in the past. I don't really know where he would have made changes, because he didn't have the personnel. He has the personnel, and there are legitimate questions being asked about his lineup now.
All right, Kevin AC, join us here on Jon and Jim. Padres and Rockies in about 40 minutes, starting off a 3-game series in Colorado. Michael King, he talked about him today, Mike Schultz did, and the first thing is he didn't have a timetable for Michael King, but he did express how he did look good in his I guess rehab outing. What can you say about Michael King, and is there any new news on the status of when we might see him next?
I thought it was next week. I'm confused that every time I talk to someone, it's, well, we don't really know for sure. And I really don't have anything other than that they seem assured that he's going to get like his 4 starts before the end of the season or before the postseason, and that will be enough for Michael King to be at, he's confident you're going to give you 5 strong innings, which at this point would make him your number 2 starter.
Right. Yeah, they just need 5 innings out of anybody at this moment in time, because right now this pitching staff is the biggest concern with this team, I would say. And you've been on this for a while now. Nestor Cortez goes on the IL. I'm putting up air quotes right now, with his tendonitis in his elbow, as Mike Schultz said. Randy Vasquez going to start tomorrow for the team. It feels like Nestor Cortez, we might have seen the last of him in a Padres uniform this year, at least.
Yeah, it does seem like that. I mean, gosh, I don't exactly know why he would pitch again for him. I mean, I can't think of a reason. Even though if they suddenly start to win here and they've got they're not going for the division anymore and they've got it wrapped up, and it's like, but wait, why? Why would you bring him back? And look, everybody has elbow hurts, especially a guy who's been out with for a while. So yeah, this is probably one of those where your elbow hurts, right? Yep. Okay, you're on the IL.
Yeah, exactly. You gave up 4 home runs in your last start. Your elbow okay? Is it okay? Yeah. No. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. We're going on the IL. Kevin Acee joined us here for a couple more minutes here on Jon and Jim. You never want to say a game's a must-win game until it's a must-win game. But I mean, look, you're facing the Rockies tonight. Now you're getting help from the Dodgers. Ironically, neither of these teams seems like they want to win the National League West. They're keeping the door open for you. They're playing the Orioles tonight. I don't know what the score is in that game, but I mean, 2 back in the division. You got 22 games remaining. I mean, the division feels like it's out of play, but it's hard to say that when the Dodgers keep stumbling and you're only 2 back here.
Yeah, I think you probably end up, regretting the time you didn't take advantage of it. Just when the Padres, do go on a run where they win 8 of 11 or something, but that's when the Dodgers will as well. That's, feels like the kind of thing. But yeah, look at what's happened in the AL West, and it's not really that unusual that the team that wins is the team that survives sometimes.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the case in the NL West, right? Like the Dodgers, for the most part, getting up near 100 wins every year. That's not what we're used to seeing. But there have been times in the past where last year the Dodgers let the Padres hang around a little bit, but the Padres were winning too. This happens. I'm not at all trying to downplay that the Padres are in a bad way right now. Yes, I get what you're saying about tonight. Man, they'd be so much better off if the home games against Colorado were before the road games against Colorado. Like, if you were having that bad team come to San Diego where there's some controllables or more controllables versus Coors Field, which is just crazy. Like, man, it's a tough place to have to go and play a must-win, man. Tough place. Yep. And it's obviously good for them. It's not a must-win. I wouldn't want to be here the last weekend of the season needing a must-win. But, they've got to turn this around. Right now, I still say that it's just not that big a deal. That's just based on history. Like, good teams have bad stretches late in the season. Good teams. World Series winning teams. Like, virtually every one of them. But that, you know what else happens? The other. Like, teams collapse. That does happen. So they need to get out of it.
Yeah, and Nick Pivetta starting tonight. It's win day when Nick Pivetta's on the mound, but he's got a career like 6 ERA at Coors Field. So that's something to watch. And his last start at Coors Field this year was not a good one. So we'll have to watch all that tonight. Kevin, are you feeling okay? I feel like there's something. There's a little sickness.
Yeah, there's been a little. I'm beat down a little bit at this point.
I get it. You need a day off. I get it.
You're not the first person. You're not the first person to say that in the last couple of days. Where,
Well, dude, I get it, man. It's not just the players that grind through a season. I mean, when you cover the team every day, like, it's a grind, dude. Like, I get it, man. Take some rest, have some hot tea with some lemon, and hopefully you'll feel better by the weekend.
I'm hoping so. I did take this week, and I only go to Colorado once, to Denver once a year. So Jeff Sanders is covering this weekend. So I did take this weekend. I cannot stand that airport. It's just the worst. So I'm going to get some rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some rest. We'll talk to you on Monday, Kevin. Feel better. All right, man?
All right. Take care.
There's Kevin Acee joining us here on Jon and Jim, brought to you by Amul Casino, the Players Place. It's interesting how the end of the season will shape out, and we'll find out tonight if the Padres are going to continue to play bad baseball, or will they start turning this thing around and take advantage of the Dodgers' poor play in front of them. Just looking at the scoreboard right now, see what the Dodgers are doing, because they're in Baltimore. Yeah, they're in Baltimore. All right, here we go. So we are scoreless in Baltimore. Top of the 4th inning, but the bases are loaded for the Dodgers. Dodgers have been awful with runners in scoring position lately. There's 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning.
Who's that sound like?
What? Oh, the Padres.
Been awful with runners in
Yeah, of
scoring
course.
position.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the teams are just like Spider-Man memeing each other right now. Like, you suck? No, you suck. Oh, we both suck? No, you. Yeah. Otani's gone 3, struck out 3. What a heroic. What's
so stunning, so brave.
Yeah, so stunning, so brave. Man, the privilege that people get to watch Otani start on short rest.
They're gonna make a bobblehead out of it tonight.
Oh man, he started for Tyler Glass now on the last moment. All right, we're underway in Brazil. Chargers and Chiefs. We'll give you an update on that. We'll react to what Kevin had to say. Coming up next here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, Aztec football is back tomorrow night when they go on the road to take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:15 with kickoff around 7:15 right here in your home for the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760. I'm very, very excited about tomorrow night's game. Just from the standpoint of I think that the Aztecs have a pretty good chance to go win on the road. Now,
they're a 1.5 underdogs.
They're a
tomorrow.
1.5 underdog, which, that to me feels like a toss-up, especially when you're on the road.
Oh, yeah.
And, Lewis is still looking for that signature win for the program. I don't know if I could say it's a signature win, but it's a start on the road against Washington State. You win on Saturday. It's going to set up some excitement for the following week's game against Cal. And, that's what they need to do. They need to have these building block wins. And they almost had a couple last year, but they just couldn't get over. I mean, Washington State at home, that was going to be, at the time, a signature win for the program in Sean Lewis's first year as head coach. But we all know how that game played out. And they made too many mistakes and they gave up the lead. And, Washington State pulling out and winning that game here at the stadium. So hopefully tomorrow, the Aztecs can return the favor. So Kevin, with us last segment, some interesting things that he was alluding to, referring to Mike Schilt. There is starting. You can start to see the shift potentially in these moves with Luis Ariz and how he's heard from people in the organization about, making this type of move. And I do think there is maybe a push to make certain moves with this lineup that Mike Schilt is stubborn to accept. But I was more or less looking at, look, in the postseason, if there's a lefty on the mound, I don't know how I could have Luis Ariz out there to start a game. I just don't. Especially if you have better options. You want to put your best lineup out there, not your favorite guys out there. And tonight, with the players that are available, this seems like it's their best lineup or one of their best, because I would probably have Freddie Fermin in there over Elias Diaz. And Xander Bogaerts isn't playing. He's hurt. I want Mason McCoy out there. Jose Iglesias, I guess. We'll see how this lineup works out tonight with Luis Ariz sitting against the lefty. Mike Schilt will tell you it's an off day. To me, it's not. They sat him because the lefty's on the mound. Update in Baltimore, Brent. We are still scoreless in the bottom of the fourth inning. Dodgers could not capitalize with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Right now, there's a runner on third with 1 out for the Orioles. So Baltimore just swept the Padres here in San Diego. Now you're rooting for the Orioles against the Dodgers in Baltimore. So we'll keep an eye on that game. Mets and Reds right now, top of the 6th inning. Mets lead the Reds 5-4. Mets only trail you by a game in the standings in the wild card race. So they're a team you have to absolutely keep an eye on. And the Giants, the surging Giants, they're up 2-0 in the first inning over the Cardinals. Giants are 71-69. They've won 9 of 10. 10 of 11, I think it is. They're only 4 back of the Mets. And if you don't start playing well, then we're going to start saying they're only X amount of games back of you. So get your ass together and play well and beat the Rockies tonight. First pitch, about 15 minutes in Colorado. All right, coming up next, we'll give you an update on this Chiefs-Chargers game in Brazil live on YouTube. Also, my back page later this hour. Stay with us on Jon and Jim right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
After an off day, the Padres are back at it in Colorado tonight. It's going to be Nick Pivetta on the hill for the Padres and Kyle Freeland going for the Rockies. First pitch is set for about 10 minutes from now. Last night, the Eagles held on to beat the Cowboys 24-20. Right now, down in Brazil, it's the Chargers taking on the Chiefs. And with about 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, it is 7-0 Chargers. Tomorrow night, the Aztecs go on the road to take on Washington State. Our pregame coverage starts at 5:30. And you can hear the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John and Rich tonight starting at 6.
All right, so we're underway in Brazil. Chargers lead the Chiefs 7-0. Saw Quentin Johnson make a couple plays for the Chargers. That's interesting. What do you make of the broadcast so far, Branks? I know you're watching it back there. It's on YouTube. They had a heavy dose of like some cringe Mr. Beast beforehand with
that wasn't even the worst.
With that cringy fake Chargers super fan. With whatever else they're doing. But so far, the broadcast seems good.
I was going to compliment them on their pregame setup. They got a lot of ex-NFLers on the pregame show, like Brandon Marshall and the Honey Badger and the other Carr brother.
Derek Carr?
Yeah. He was on the pregame and like their set and everything else. And I was just about to praise them. And then they did this like 5-minute intro thing with Mr. Beast and Roger Goodell, where it was a whole joke thing, but it just wasn't funny, where he was like assigning YouTube influencers to every team in the NFL. And then they went and did like this 5-minute thing of quote, human field goals that they're going to do with some Chiefs fan and that fake Chargers fan that they always parade on TV every time they play on Sunday night. You know, that little tiny lady that, you know, claims she's a Chargers fan, even though they have all those pictures of her being the #1 Minnesota Vikings fan as well.
Fakest thing I've ever seen. It's not funny anymore. It's just cringy and annoying.
I don't know. I like the football part of it, but I can already tell they are going hard on all the influencers and just I guess you could say the YouTube element of it, which I'm sure younger people may not mind it, but like the older, you know, angry old man yells at cloud are going to be like, who are all these people and why are they doing all these weird things that have nothing to do with football?
The thing with YouTube is it's the future. It's also the now. It's basically, I mean, we got YouTube TV. We're streaming NFL games on YouTube. We stream Jon and Jim on YouTube every day, along with the wrap-up show at night. YouTube is the now, and it is the future. And if you are in the content game and you're not on YouTube, you're not doing it right. You know, and so I get it from that standpoint of like, hey, let's tap into every single content creator possible because, I mean, these numbers, Brent, are, you know, they're crazy. Like, not just thousands and thousands of subscribers, like hundreds of millions of subscribers across these platforms. It's just the way of the future. YouTube is a juggernaut.
I am really happy, and we talked about this earlier in the show off during a break, that, you know, for the last like 2 or 3 years, it's like every year the NFL is like, oh, here's a new streaming platform that we're going to be on. So you have to get, you know, now you have to get Amazon Prime for those 5 games this year. Now you got to get Peacock, and you got to get, you know, Paramount Plus. It's kind of refreshing for them just to go, hey, we're not going to make you have to download a new app or pay a new subscription service. We're going to put it on YouTube for free.
YouTube is free.
And it's just like, for once the NFL is just going, okay, we're not going to try and squeeze every last penny out of you guys just to watch, you know, one game a couple times a year. So I like that they are just putting it on YouTube for free so anybody can watch it and you don't have to, you know, like I said, go and get a subscription to Prime just for football. And, you know, a lot of times I only want to watch like one of the Prime games. You know, if the Bears are on their one a year, that's the only game that I really care about, where I'm not going to pay $20 a month for Prime just for that. So I do commend the NFL for at least giving us something for free for once. So I do like that, but I don't know the influencer thing. I'm hoping that they just go hardcore with it this first week, and then it just gets less cringy as they go along.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to get less cringy.
Well, it can't get much more cringy.
So I'm trying to find, and if you watch it on YouTube, it does. Usually on YouTube, it will tell you how many viewers are watching at once. It will tell you how many views total, but it will tell you how many viewers are watching at once. And the NFL streaming it on their YouTube page. They have 15 million subscribers to their NFL channel. They blocked out how many viewers you can see. So it doesn't show. It just says likes, NA, and then the viewers doesn't show it. So they're keeping that under wraps because they don't want to see potentially them have less viewers than they expected, right? But I was curious. I wanted to see how many live viewers are watching this at once. That'd be cool to see. Like, how many thousands of people are watching this game live on YouTube right now?
I'm sure we'll get a whole breakdown of those numbers tomorrow.
Is it do we have 100,000? Do we have 150? Do we have less than 100? Do we have more than 200? Like, I'm curious. I was curious to see how many live viewers at once they were going to have on this broadcast. But you're right. We'll know tomorrow. They'll obviously only release the best numbers that they have. But so far, I mean, it's easy. Just go to YouTube and just click it. It's right there. It's being promoted, so it's not hard to find.
No, it's not like Apple TV's baseball stuff where it's just like, oh god, they're doing the stats and they're doing all these things that no other broadcast is doing. You get the free 4K. They're doing a lot of stuff that you can't really tell the difference between that or an NFL Network broadcast or NBC. It's a lot of it is the same. Like I said, it's just some fresh faces in there. Like I said, just to see Brandon Marshall and Honey Badger and just some new NFL players besides the usual. No offense, but Booger McFarland, the usual clown cars that ESPN and ABC roll out for every NFL game.
Exactly. I don't know if you saw this news, Brent, but the WNBA season not probably. I mean, it's over. The amount of people that will now care about the WNBA season has plummeted. Why, you ask? Well, it was announced yesterday in a very news dumpy type of way that Caitlin Clark's season is officially over because of her hamstring injury. She only played 13 games this year. And while, she didn't look particularly good in those 13 games, especially on the road. At home, she was actually really good. On the road, she was awful. But ratings were up, viewership were up, talking points were up. Like, the league was actually doing well. And then Caitlin Clark got injured, and they're SOL. Kind of doesn't really work when your entire league's built around one player. Now, it's not the WNBA's fault that their league is built. Well, actually, it is, but it's not their fault that Caitlin Clark got hurt. It's their fault that, one, they didn't embrace her like they should have embraced her last year. And two, making yourself seem like, oh, yeah, this player matters just as much as Caitlin Clark. No, Caitlin Clark matters more than any WNBA player in the league, and all of them combined. And now without her, my guess is you're going to get all-time low ratings for their playoffs, which I don't know when they start, but they start soon, I want to say. You're going to get all-time ratings low for their WNBA finals. Like, you're going to get all-time lows across the board for the regular season. My guess is they're probably not even going to announce those unless someone digs it up.
I don't know if they'll get all-time lows because they never had really all-time highs in terms of ratings. So they'd have to, nobody would have to watch it all for them to get all-time lows.
Well, get all-time lows compared to what they got last year and the start of this year. Is what I meant.
Okay. My thing too is that, this is like the worst possible scenario for their league, especially they're trying to, get that new CBA agreement in there. And, it would have been better if Clark was in there to inflate their numbers so they could go, hey, look at our TV numbers, look at the attendance numbers. And now it's going to be like, oh yeah, they're down, but it's not our fault. It's because Caitlin got hurt, and it's like, well, that's not going to be a very good negotiating, thing because they're not going to go, oh, okay, well, she got hurt, so we'll just give you all this money. You're going to guarantee she never gets hurt again?
Right, exactly.
It's like, no, well, we can't do that.
Now, for Caitlin, her personally, when she comes back, one, she's got to stay healthy. Two, she has to be much better on the road. She was good at home, but she has to be much better on the road. And do I think that she still could be not only, I mean, she's the face of the league, in my opinion, even though the WNBA does not want that to happen right away. They just pushing off the Caitlin Clark train. It's like, guys, jump on. You need to do it. Do I think she could become an MVP? Absolutely. Do I think she could lead her team to a WNBA finals? Absolutely. It is a little concerning that she had a full off season, and after her full off season finally, in however many years, she comes back and she has a hamstring issue that causes her to miss the entire rest of the season. It's concerning. That is for sure. It is concerning. Update in Brazil. Chargers still lead the Chiefs 7-0. 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Chargers are driving. Chiefs had a couple drives that led to a couple punts. Chargers had a drive where they scored a touchdown. They're driving right now, so we'll keep you updated on that game. Looking around Major League Baseball because it's scoreboard watch season. It is scoreboard watch season. Dodgers and Orioles. That's the game I care about most right now. Still scoreless in the bottom of the fifth inning. Dodgers, they continue to struggle on offense. They have one hit through 5 in Baltimore. So hopefully the Orioles get a lead here soon and hold it against the Dodgers. Giants, they're leading the Cardinals 2-0 top of the second inning. Mets lead the Reds 5-4 in the bottom of the sixth inning. Phillies, they're leading the Marlins 5-1 in the bottom of the fifth. I'm not really too concerned about the Phillies anymore as far as the 2 seed goes. And then the Cubs beat the Nationals earlier today 11-5, which puts you 4.5 back of the Cubs for the 4 seed in the wild card race. So it feels like every day that passes, you're probably playing for a division or a 5 seed. Like the best possible scenarios, division or 5 seed. So we'll see what happens, but we're about to get underway in Colorado, and they actually are underway. And those are the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen in my entire life. Even the City Connect jerseys are better than what the hell the Rockies are wearing right now in Colorado. So we'll see and keep you updated on that. But coming up next, we'll wrap up the show, wrap up the week with my back page. Stay right here on Jon and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, wrapping up the week here on Jon and Jim. Just a reminder, coming up at 6 p.m., we have the Sean Lewis Coaches Show with John, Rich, and Coach Lewis getting you ready for tomorrow night's game against Washington State on the road. Chargers still lead the Chiefs 7-0, but they are driving right now, and they are just gashing the Chiefs defense. We're underway also in Colorado, scoreless, bottom of the second inning. Nick Pivetta taking his career 6 ERA at Coors Field for the mound tonight, so hopefully he can pitch better than he has in the past. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated on those couple games if anything happens while we're here until the top of the hour. But, Brent, let's get to it. So the Savannah Bananas are at Petco Park this weekend.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not the biggest. I mean, I get it. If you're a Savannah Banana fan, go for it. Absolutely.
It's all right.
Looks like a blast. It's basically like a Broadway show for sports at stadiums.
It's the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, it's the Globetrotters. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a fun experience.
Yeah.
It's not particularly my thing. I'm not like going out of my way, like I got to see the Savannah Bananas. But like, look, they sell out ballparks across the country, and they're doing something right. So the Savannah Bananas are at Petco Park this weekend. If you're on your way down to the game, or if you're at the game, have an amazing time. And if you didn't know, the Savannah Bananas, they have special food items when they come to your ballpark. So here are some special Savannah Banana food items that you can get. Now, it's not, the traditional, like, hot dogs and hamburgers. If you go, like, you get some special food items at a Savannah Banana game. Here are some of the items. 5 Alarm Firefighters Pizza, available in Section 102. Adobo Plantain Chip Nachos. Yeah. Available in Section 105 and 101. Tortillas and plantain chips topped with queso, pork adobo, avocado salsa, grilled pineapple, and onion. Brent, I know you don't like the onion part.
I don't like avocado either.
Bro.
I know that's sacrilegious for the state, but yeah.
You don't like no guacamole? Dude.
Nope. Looks like baby poop.
Oh my goodness. All right. Got to refocus here. We only got about 5 minutes left. Plantain chips with peach salsa. A banana split. Available at Section 111 and 131. My guess is the banana bread pudding that's famous at Petco Park now will probably also be served because, Savannah Bananas. By the way, also, if you're noticing, there's a trend with their special food items. They have the Savannah Banana Souvenir Soda Cup, a collectible cup that you can get. Show off your banana pride. Available in Sections 115, 116, and the Tony Gwynn Terrace in Gallagher Square. So there's just a couple of the special food items that you can get if you go to the Savannah Bananas tonight at Petco Park. Excuse me for a second. This is also another problem doing a solo show. I don't have someone to talk while I have to cough my brains out.
That's okay. That's what the button's for.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also good that I don't have any water left in my cup. Great. Just great. Moving along here. So NBA 2K, or not NBA 2K, but just 2K in general, released a statement the other day saying that it's NBA 2K26 launch week. Seems like a good time to share even more incredible news about the future of basketball at 2K. Yes, it's true. We're working on a college basketball experience that will feature more than 100 programs from across the country. Now, I have to stop there. There's more than 100 programs in the country. If San Diego State's not on that list, we got some problems. All right? They say more good news. You won't have to wait that long to start seeing your favorite colleges show up at a game. We got big plans for 2027 and beyond. and even a few surprises coming in early 2026. We've proven the quality of the basketball experience we can deliver for years, and we have every intention to bring that same level of quality to college hoops. Ball over everything, 2K. That was in their special press release earlier today.
I'm pumped. That's what I wanted. I didn't care when EA said they were going to do a college basketball game because their college basketball games sucked. Dude, EA can do football. They're really good at football, especially when they're motivated. And now that they have competition from themselves with college and Madden, they've actually tried to do new things instead of just put the same old thing out every year because there's some form of competition. But 2K, they put out the best basketball games. So
2K puts out some of the best. I would love a 2K NFL game.
Well, they used to have one.
I know they
did
did
before EA took the rights.
Give me some competition with Madden.
But even their golf game is solid. I've played that before. I don't watch golf, but I'll play golf video games. That's solid. But 2K in terms of basketball, they can just give us the NBA 2K and just put a college theme and facelift on it, and it will just be awesome.
Right. Okay, so finally, I'm just watching what's going on in the Padres Rockies game. 2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the first inning. Nick Pivetta, please get out of this first inning without allowing a run. Finally, the actual Darth Vader lightsaber that was used in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi sold in an auction for $3.654 million. What? It was used in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. The iconic prop's price reflects its rarity and its place in cinema history as the weapon of the saga's most feared villain. Yo.
I think it was just a hilt, too. It wasn't even the full...
Well, back then, all they used was the hilt, but then the lightsaber part was just like a stick.
Well, yeah, some of them, they were like this weird fiberglass thing that would be attached, and they put the glow thing on afterward.
Now they actually have the full lightsaber. They've created the actual lightsaber where you could battle, you could fight with it in the movies, and actors could actually use it instead of having it be a CGI. But if you had to pick, Brent, Luke's lightsaber, Vader's lightsaber, or Anakin's lightsaber, or Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Well, technically, if you want to get technical, Luke and Anakin's lightsaber is the same one. Because for the first 2 movies, he uses Anakin's. But you mean the green one that he makes in Jedi?
No, well, he also has a different lightsaber before he gets his hand cut off by Count Dooku in Episode 2.
Yeah, but the one that Luke has,
you're right.
Until this
okay,
so we'll say until his dad cuts his hand off.
Well, we'll go Anakin's lightsaber that turned into Luke's first lightsaber. And we'll go Luke's green lightsaber.
I'm going with one that you didn't even mention. I'm going to go with Yoda. Because Yoda's is funny because his is so short. Because when I bought my Vader lightsaber, I almost bought the Yoda one because the Yoda one looks like it's designed for a child because it's so small. But Yoda, or even honorable mention, Darth Maul because of the staff.
Dope. Yeah.
The staff broke apart, so you got 2 swords out of it.
For me, I think the lightsaber that I would choose, a lot of people would choose this one, but I really like the hilt. It's the Return of the Jedi green Luke lightsaber. I think I like the hilt the best. That's my favorite hilt, I think.
Best hilt on Dooku. They have the curve.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. With the green lightsaber, the sound of his green lightsaber is it hits different.
It's so much a good thing that John is here.
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't have nerded out like that for the final couple minutes of the show. All right, coming up next, the Sean Lewis Coaching Show with Sean Lewis, John, and Rich. Getting you ready for tomorrow's game against Washington State. Stay right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.